Pocono Raceway in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania of the United States carries a very long lineage of racing here at what we call the Tricky Triangle. 3 turns instead of the standard 4, and it will be host to the 16th Street Racing League here at Pocono Raceway. You're watching the Verizon Countdown to Green here on Race Spot TV. We'll be back after just this quick promo of everything that is coming up this week in the iRacing.com service.
Hey guys, this is Jack and welcome to This Week on iRacing, a brand new series that covers this week's race schedules, live events, and iRacing news. Both the Dallara Dash and Street Stock series are at Charlotte. The Pickup Cup is at the 2007 version of Daytona, now a free track. The Mazda Cup is at Okayama. While the full 2015 season of the NASCAR iRacing Series ended at Homestead this week, Season 4 continues on with Class A at Daytona and Class B and C at Watkins Glen. The IndyCar Oval Series is at Texas, while the IndyCar Winter Series is at Zandvoort. The GT1 World Championship is at Suzuka this week, while both the Prototype Challenge and the IMSA Sports Car Challenge are at Sebring. The Roof Cup and Star Mazda are both at Summit Point, and the Blancpain Sprint Series is at Twin Ring Motegi. In short track this week, the SK Modified is at Langley, while the late model is at USA International. Both Skip Barber and V8 Supercars are at Monza. Last week, Mazda Motorsports announced Glenn McGee as the winner of the 2015 Mazda Road to 24 Shootout. Glenn and Richard Eklund, who both represent some of iRacing's greatest talent, raced in the shootout against other up-and-coming drivers for the opportunity to race in the 2016 Battery Tender Mazda MX-5 Cup. Glenn McGee emerged as the shootout winner, and we can't wait to follow his on-track career next year. Check out our video recap of the event on our YouTube channel. Black Friday is this week, but iRacing's biggest deal of the year is already here. All memberships are now 50% off through December 4th. If you're an existing member, you can renew your account for only $49 per year, half off the regular price of $99 with this promo code. New members, head over to iRacing.com/membership and select the subscription that works best for you at 50% off. Expired accounts can also take advantage of this sale with this unique code. The 4th round of the Blancpain Endurance Series took place this past weekend, and INEX Racing Team is dominating the standings, with INEX Racing Blue and INEX Racing Yellow in 1st and 2nd place. 4-racer Coanda SimSport follows closely in 3rd. As this season comes to a close with 2 rounds left in the series, the Blancpain Endurance Series takes place again this weekend at Monza for round 5. The NASCAR iRacing Pro Series hits Auto Club Speedway this week. Tune in tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. GMT, to watch Round 4 with live coverage provided by Live Sim Racing TV. The iRacing Road Pro Series hits Suzuka this week. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. GMT for Round 4, with coverage provided by RaceSpot TV. That's all for this week. We want to wish a happy and safe Thanksgiving to our fellow American iRacers. Check back here next week for another installment of This Week on iRacing.
Welcome back to the Pocono Raceway here with RaceSpot TV and IndyCar, bringing you guys the 16th Street Racing League. It is going to be 140 laps here at the Tricky Triangle. Hello everybody, I'm Cameron Walsh along with Rachel Whiteford and Randy Chanroth. We're going to be bringing you the next 140 laps of this, legendary, we would say oval, but it's not necessarily an oval now, is it, Rachel?
Well, that's definitely for sure, Cam. Of course, Pocono, the Tricky Triangle. We're here, of course, for an amazing race. And, well, track is so difficult. Of course, 3 corners very different. Turn 1 is more banked, of course, fast corner. Turn 2, it's actually modeled after Indianapolis, so that's a flatter corner, more of a 90-degree bend. Turn 3, Again, very different shape entirely. 3 different corners, 3 different challenges, and a car will never be set up for all 3.
No, not at all, and it will be, of course, an interesting challenge. We've seen racing here many times before, and from the racing that we have seen in the past, it is going to be a very, very exciting 140 laps indeed. I'll bring in Randy Chenworth. Now, Randy, you've had a couple of words with a couple of the drivers that are going to be out there today, and what does it look like they're going to be getting ready for here at Pocono?
Well, they're getting ready for 140 laps of hard racing the entire way. They're setting up. They're got the gears geared up for the bumpy condition. Like you said earlier, the cars are set up 3 completely different ways. Well, completely different ways for whatever corner they decide is the most important. Like you said, turn 1 modeled after Trenton. Like Rachel mentioned, turn 2 modeled after Indianapolis, and turn 3 is modeled after Milwaukee. So it's going to be interesting to see setups play out, and we're expecting a lot of drafting down that long front straightaway.
Yeah, it's one of the longest straights you could possibly encounter, and especially in these open-wheel IndyCars. They haven't been shy to go 4 wide before in the past, as qualifying is currently underway. Most drivers have completed at least 1 lap just to feel the field here. Qualifying times are about 40 seconds, just about to get around the 2.5-mile track, as you're currently watching Martin Miller, number 22 car, as one of the Benny Banshee cars is he makes his way around the track for his second qualifying lap. But right now, it's Brandon Traino sitting on pole, the number 15 car, that Steak and Shake car, with Christopher Demerit sitting on provisional second and Terry Mathiasen in the third. So, well, a couple of these guys do have another lap left in the back in case they need it. As Martin Miller gives a little tap to that wall. Turn 3 exit's actually quite a frightening turn exit, as you can clip things, as he will set himself up, at least for now, in 5th position. So, Pocono Raceway, 2.5 miles. It's definitely interesting to say the least, and we are joined currently by Christian Steele. Now, Christian, just to start it off real quick here, you're currently sitting in 6th with a 40.5 as far as the qualifying goes. Are you ready to take on this 3-turned oval?
Yeah, I think so. We got the setup pretty dialed in, and it's going to be a long race, and I think survival will be the key. So as long as you're there at the end, you're pretty much good to go. Yes,
and of course traffic is going to be a very important thing here. Drafting, very, very important, as we've got 22 some odd cars here at the very least. We'll see just how many take to the field. It should definitely be well over 20 cars. So drafting is important, and positioning the car is important. Quite a few good names are just about halfway through the fields, at least here at the start. So you're going to have a couple of faster guys coming through, but overall, I mean, having 140 laps, it's a bit of a long race. So as far as pit strategy goes, you guys are looking to ride maybe the cautions, or do you guys have a plan all set?
We're probably going to fill it up the first couple cautions, and then we're going to do some math and see if we can split the fuel at the end of the runs. And we hope that we can have a bullet for the end of the race.
All right, well, we'll definitely have to see, as Christian is going to have to be getting into his car, as qualifying is just about over, and then after that, the cars will be taking to the grid, which we'll be bringing to you in just one moment's time after everything gets set to the official times, which they just have. So let's take a look then at the official qualifying grid here for the Pocono race of the 16th Street Racing League. It's going to be Brandon Traino with that qualifying time of 40.393 on the top spot. Christopher Demerit in second, a scant 1/100th of a second behind, and then 1/10th of a second behind him is Terry Mathiasen in third. Alex Simpson, our winner from Road America last week, is in 4th position with Martin Miller in 5th. Christian Steele, whom we just talked to, is starting in the 6th position with Niles Anders with him. Brandon Trost on the inside of row number 4 here. It is a 40.5, so everyone's still staying right in the 42nd map with Randy Crosno outside of Brandon Trost. Tim Holgate normally starting up front, not necessarily a great qualifying. He will have some work ahead of him as he rounds out the top 10. Vic Caudill is starting in 11th position with Jim McClure in 12th. Paul Jennings in 13th position. Eric Davis in 14th. Matt Pavelski, this is his home track. He comes here quite often to watch the real-life racing, and he will now be taking part in the virtual race. Matt Pavelski in 15th with Brian R. Simpson, our IndyCar representative and the admin of the series, is starting 16th. Dean Moll starting 17th. Tim Miller in 18th. Tim Doyle in 19th, and Michael Peters in 20th. Brian Karzeski is in 21st with Austin Espity, who failed to qualify. Must have had an issue on the qualifying run. He's starting in 22nd. Much work for Austin Espity, as I know that car has much speed with it. Sage Karam, our celebrity driver, our IndyCar driver, is starting well in the back. Did not put a qualifying time, as he is going to be starting 24th, and he is going to be looking to run his way through the field. So, it's Pocono Raceway, and it is the 16th Street Racing League, ready to set off for 140 laps here at the Pocono Speedway. Of course, we have the American Childhood Cancer Organization sponsored pace car here for iRacings, and we will be getting right to it right when that car starts pulling away, which it will. So as they take the pace lap, let's take a quick look at the point standings. As right now, as we just mentioned, Alex Simpson last week did take the win by about 6 seconds at Road America. Matt Pavelski is in a close second, just 3 points behind Tim Holgate, also in the shoot. He wasn't here last week. He's in third with Tim Doyle in fourth in the overall standings after 6 races. Brandon Trano is also he's in 5th position, as well as Brandon Trost in 6th. Michael DeJong is in 7th. Joe Branch is in the 8th position. So we would like to have more time to go through the standings, but the cars are just finishing that first turn. So Rachel, we'll kick it to you real quick. As these cars come down this second straightaway here, it's going towards that Indianapolis turn. Just what is the overall strategy, do you think?
Of course, long race here tonight. We do have in the region of 140 laps for these drivers. So, well, first half of the race, you make sure you are there for the last half of the race. Take it easy, be safe. You have some good space, but you also want to find track position if you can. So we'll see drivers working together more than against each other early on, and that will be the important part of this one. Keep that car in one piece, be there for the end, because once we have a few quick cautions at the start, we're going to see a long green flag spell. That will be the trick.
Yes, and green flag spells are not a stranger here to Pocono Raceway, Randy, as they finish the second straight and they start heading towards that third turn. Actually, that pace car is getting ready. We might have to hold off there, as Sage Karam is just getting moving in that car. Might have him and Austin Espedy are just getting through the field. If you're Sage Karam, that celebrity driver, he's sitting well in the back with Austin Espedy. He'll have to work his way through the field as the pace car is getting ready to pull off here at the Pocono Raceway. He does just that and hands the field to Brandon Trano. Brandon Trano immediately on the throttle, and we are green here at the 16th Street Racing League race at Pocono, as Brandon Trano, already many cars going 4 abreast as they head towards the first corner. Everyone quickly trying to get positions early on, as everyone seems to be pulling away quite nicely. A couple of cars sliding around in the middle of the field, but ultimately everyone seems to be playing nice just not for now, as it looks like already Matt Pavelski is trying to push up in that teal car as he looks to make it 3 wide for just a second going through that tunnel turn, but he will think better of it as he's got the 2 cars of Randy Krasno and Niles Anders dead ahead of him. They'll all try and get to single file for turn number 3, and already, just like that, 2.5 miles are in the books here at Pennsylvania, and we are officially live here on Race Spot TV for the 16th Street race. Already a battle for the lead, as it looks like Christopher Demerit will take it from Brandon Trano. And Randy, we're trying to get to you early on, but they just got there a little too quick. Brandon Trano using that draft to pass the cars, and drafting is kind of going to be one of the big keys to success here at Pocono.
Oh yeah, these long straightaways, there's a lot of speed you can gain by tucking in behind someone else. Already now we're 5 miles into this race, 2 laps, and they've swapped the lead 4 times.
Yes, it is going to be something to behold, as it's not just that, as Brandon Trano is going to be passed by Christopher Demerit just before the line. Christopher Demerit will lead the second lap as they start lap number 3. Christopher Demerit, Brandon Trano, Brandon Trost having already moved his way up. He started in 8th. He's already up to 3rd. Alex Simpson very close behind with Christian Steele and Tim Holgate just about rounding out your top 6 or 7 cars here. Is already there are a couple of trains of cars starting to pull a little bit of gap. It should be a relatively long train of cars here, as everyone is going to be in draft range, as already these cars are starting to just get single file, and they're starting to well, Brandon Trano is still fighting with Christopher Demerit, and I have to say they might have the best idea here of working together to try and pull away. But for the most part, though, as they're working on each other, Rachel, I think fuel and strategy are going to play an important part here. The drafting, of course, is going to save you fuel, and that, at the end of the day, could give you a quicker pit stop.
Very much so, of course. We're expecting probably an early caution here on the field, still bunched up. And one guy I really want to highlight here is Sage Karam in that number 8 machine. He is moving fast. That big machine records IndyCar is going so quickly right now. Siping through your field for Sage starting P number 24. Already looking like he's up into, I believe, P number 18 or 17. It will be P17 for Karam. Moving fast. And we've seen some big strategic moves so far in the race. Another one was Brandon Trost. Big move on that start to actually cut inside into 3rd. A huge move for him. And that's got him up to P number 4 right now, going inside Alex Simpson for turn 2. But these drivers, they're all making plays for track position early on, Cam, because we think we are going to have a yellow flag for the first pit cycle.
Yes, as everyone is just, they're still bunched up in the front, and that's good for the middle packers, as they are all not able to run away from the field, as we have seen on some of the shorter tracks. Christopher Demerit thought about it for just one moment to get past, to use his slipstream to get past Brandon Trano, but I think he's going to wait till after turn number 1 here. It's very easy to start losing your place here, and if you lose your place, Randy, I mean, you've got 3 completely different corners that need a little different braking, maybe a little different turn. Now, of course, these guys are the pilots. These guys are definitely knowing what they're doing. I think I, at some point, would start getting lost to only the 3 corners, but that's just me.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, it can get a little confusing sometimes if you're used to tracks that are essentially perfectly symmetrical. Yeah, there's 3 different turn-in points, 3 completely different lines, and really it's important to try to, if you get offline, be able to maintain that speed off the corner, which is what we've been seeing be the big dictator up front right now. Basically, someone makes a pass, and then they can't get a run off the corner, and then the car behind is able to get the run off the corner, and then we end up with our 2 leaders just swapping positions back and forth. Basically, every corner is a different leader.
Yes, and every corner a different leader, and every corner, as they try and make the pass on each other, raises the risk, as Sage Karam does go past Brian R. Simpson in that number 8 car. Sage Karam is already, as Rachel has said, moving his way through the field. He disposed of Eric Davis early on the lap, takes on Brian Simpson, comes away with it, and he will get into the wheel tracks of Vic Caudell. And Paul Jennings is there, the group ahead of them. But already I can see a pattern here. Groups of 2 cars seeming to form. They're enjoying that draft. A couple of 3-packed cars, as Brandon Trost is now looking to move his way through into the 2nd position. He's had enough of waiting. He wants a little bit of the action. Christopher Demerit, though, rather easily in that Broken Arrow IndyCar keeps his 2nd position, and running that outside line is Brandon Trano, just holding on to that front. But
We got someone in the wall.
It's I believe that is Christian Steele. It's Christian Steele, the Aero X as well. Oh, yes.
Simpson's got away with it, actually. Alex Simpson is up front still, running with that lead pack. He's currently P number 5, but yeah, Christian Steele hard into that inside wall. We're out of the car for track 2.
Yes, as he ended up, as he has done the absolute right thing and rode that wall, which, while doing the damage to his car, has absolutely saved the field. He was up in 5th position, as we get a replay right now up on what would just exactly happen, as Christian Steele, it just looks like Brandon Trost just came right in and took that position away. They entered the corner 2 by 2, and it looks like Trost, after clearing the nose of Christopher Demerit, took Christian Steele to the wall. Of course, I don't think there was anything intentional. I think Steele was just following the wheels and ended up in the air. As it looks like Christopher Demerit might have a little bit of damage, as well as Austin Espedy. Rachel, what do you have on Austin?
Yeah, just spoken to Austin's team there. He is out. They just had a big impact. They had to swerve to avoid the car in the wall. The car just lost traction, went into the inside grass, couldn't stop, hit the wall. The car's going to be recovered to pit road. I don't think they believe they can fix it, so that could well be the end of the day for Austin Espedy, which is a shame. He had started P22. He'd been in the top 10, so a big mover out of the race early, and no caution.
I'm sorry to interrupt here, but something we didn't notice when Steele was on the wall hard, Trost actually got a taste of the wall and exited turn 3 at the same time as Christian Steele and has a little bit of damage on the right side of that race.
Many things happening all at that one similar moment. Just one car riding the wall, and that little bit of damage from Brandon Trost is allowing Tim Holgate. Holgate, who had started in 10th, he's already fighting for a third position, which is not a surprise for anyone here. But yes, that incident with Austin Espedy, Christian Steele, and Brandon Trost, we have a caution out on the track. As the pace car will pull out onto the field, we'll figure it all out as the pace car will circle around. Looks like it was for Alex Simpson. No, Brian Simpson. Okay, we'll get that up on your screens in just one moment's time as we sort it all out. They will re-rack them behind the pace car as wonder if they will be coming into the pit road already. I would imagine it's 11 laps in. It just looks like the wall off of turn 1 is going to be the ending day for Brian Simpson, as he ended up losing the exit off of turn 1 and riding that wall, which is, Randy, of all the ways to have your car have this happen, I guess it's the politest way to do it without wrecking the field.
Oh yeah, and in some ways it might be considered preferred to just basically scrape the right side of the car all the way down the wall as opposed to bouncing off of it and getting hit by another car that's going 200 plus miles an hour. Because they might be able to get some repairs, might be able to get out on track. Obviously not going to get a good result, but they might be able to get some points for further down in the championship. But chances are when you hit that wall that hard, that's pretty much day done.
Yeah, massive suspension damage for sure on these open wheel cars. So Brandon Traino locked right now at 75 miles an hour behind that childhood cancer organization. Pace car will he be looking in that Steak and Shake car to come down pit road? Everyone is expected to come down pit road. I don't see why you wouldn't if you're at the field, as Brandon Traino very clearly intends to do it. Christopher Demerit, Tim Holgate, Brandon Trost, Alex Simpson, and the rest of the 16th Street Racing League field will be coming down the pit lane, as all of the cars will be coming in. They will be coming to their stalls, and it will be multiple cars getting there first. They should be taking all 4 tires and getting fuel, as of course with these Indy cars and those air jack systems, it's very easy for them as all the cars hit their pits. Now this is going to be at making your markers. It's a 60-mile-an-hour pit lane as all the cars make their marker, and it looks like Terry Mathiasen had an issue as he has gone forward and backed up, and he will lose many positions as the rest of the field is pulling away right now. A very, very wide pit lane, which makes it almost a little difficult to see where exactly your blend is, but it will be Brandon Traino's crew getting him out in front, with Christopher Demerit and Brandon Trost in third, with Tim Holgate in fourth, Alex Simpson fifth, Matt Pavelski in sixth, with Martin Miller in the seventh position in his Banshee Autosports car, Paul Jennings in ninth, and it looks like it was Randy Krause now getting off in 10th position. So Niles Anders, though, might be having an issue. Either he had an issue with his pit stop or something had happened. Rachel, what did you see?
Well, of course, the 16th Street Series does operate a policy with regards to pitting in, Cam. Drivers are permitted to drive through 2 pit boxes, entering and exiting their pit. And Nanders came through at least 3 on my camera. So he could be looking at a penalty for that one.
Well, it could be potentially, as we will, of course, hear from that later on. Of course, now, with just how the iRacing service goes, of course, that is a sort of a gentleman's rule to not be driving through the pit boxes, of course, and being respectful. So that is where that rule comes from. Niles Anders potentially having violated that a little bit slightly. So as we re-rack him behind the pace car, as we're looking at a replay right now on your screens of Niles Anders' pits, as he will have come into his box. So we'll just get a double look at that as they do come down the pit lane. His pit stall was well late. Well, it looked like he started nosing in, and I almost wonder if he had lost his where his pit stall was, having so many cars all entering pit. It looks like he made a couple of motions in a couple of times to veer in, and I actually think he had lost a couple of positions. He actually came in. He was just ahead of the car of Vic Caudill, and I believe Caudill beat him off the pits. No, he didn't. Anyways, we will go back to the live pictures here. Now, you're Brandon Traino. This might be, as the lights are out on that pace car, this is going to be a good experience for Brandon, as he is going to have to try and keep Christopher Demerit and Brandon Trost behind him, as right now, Matt Pavelski is, as it stands, our biggest mover of the race. He started in 15th and he's up to 6th. And then Sage Karam also, who started in 24th, and he's now back to 17th. But that, Randy, might be because he missed his pit stall.
Yeah, he was pulling in, and he just got out a little bit too far in front of it for the crew to be able to get out and start working that car. He then backed up and still wasn't in the box enough for me to back up a little bit more. So he's going to be kicking himself after that one. Lost himself probably a good 4 to 5 seconds on pit lane there. Still out, keeping it in the top 20, which is, I'm sure, where he wants to go. But obviously, he wants to move forward as quick as he can.
Yes, and if there's anything his real-world IndyCar experience will show, is that he is capable of doing just that. As we go back to the live pictures, a replay of that pit entry as the pace car is getting ready to pull off. It looks like Brandon Traino is just giving himself quite a bit of gap between that pace car. He's got many IndyCars and much horsepower sitting right behind him, as that pace car will nose into the pit lane, and it will be on the right foot of Brandon Traino, and it immediately goes down the second that he is cleared to do so. And that will clear him from Christopher Demerit, almost like that. Tim Holgate, though, with a good restart, and Brandon Trost will automatically be on the defensive from that good start from Tim Holgate, but everyone seems to be getting away quite cleanly. A couple of two-wide racing back in the field. I see Vic Caudill, the yellow DHL IndyCar being one of them, as they sort themselves out. But it's up in the front of the field with Brandon Traino already looking to the inside of Christopher Demerit going into the tunnel turn number 2, as he looks like he will have the outside line will be covered from Trost by Demerit as they enter turn number 3. A little bit of a slower corner than number 2, but they're still doing 215 miles an hour, as the rest of the field, the draft will kick in, and it looks like Brandon Traino will lead, but only by just, it was 0.054 of a second, which might have implications later on in the race as we do start entering the closing stages. But we are just opening up on the lap number 16. Already Brandon Traino looking to pass. Brandon Trost sitting in third. And Rachel, if you're Tim Holgate sitting in third position right now, as we're just gotten this restart underway, you've got Alex Simpson behind you, you've got Brandon Trost ahead of you. I almost wonder if you're quite comfortable sitting there.
If I was him, I would be, of course. He's in a good spot right now. He's dropped back to 5th, but he has a bit of a gap back to Pavelski, so it's a pretty safe spot. Just watch out and see what happens in front of him. Long race to go, so Holgate really needs the points. Of course, they did not start last week at Road America, which hurt them greatly, and of course involved their incident with Trost at Milwaukee. So Holgate needs to capitalize on points here. He needs a top 5, and in his shoes, settling for a top 5 is far better than risking it and losing it for a win, as we see Demerit pass Traino.
Yes, as I have a feeling these two cars are going to be doing this all race long right now, as the entire field is out and about. We've had a couple of early retirements. The last car is in 20th position, Terry Mathiansen, back all the way back in 20th. But as Brandon Traino already under attack from Demerit once again. This is just from feeling out from one another, seeing what each other's cars can do, and already, Randy, the top 5 cars have pulled a gap, as Tim Holgate will look to the inside of Brandon Trost.
Yeah, these top 5 here, really they've pulled a gap on every green flag run we've had at the start. Seems like from 6 down, they just can't keep up, or they get some aero push when they're in the air, but or when the hole from the other car there, that is. But yeah, Traino and Demerit basically trading spots still every corner. Looks like Alex Simpson may have gotten loose, or something happened in the middle of turn 3. Alex Simpson moves up to 4th. Not sure what happened there, but we had one car all the way down to the inside of the pit road wall.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if Tim Holgate and Brandon Trost made contact. That was a very, very close movement. As no, they didn't make contact, but Brandon Trost had to whoa up his IndyCar by a lot, and that allowed Alex Simpson to go well on the inside. So just like that, the front 5 are swapped around, but everyone still stays in it, as the rest of the field, led by Paul Jennings in 6th position, is looking to capitalize on that. I think they might be in draft range, and there's Matt Pavelski, who had started in 15th position. He's all the way up to 7th now, and he's looking for more as another car pulls out. Tim Doyle will pull out. The number 11 car will pull out and go on the inside of Sage Karam. Sage Karam is still holding strong. He's already moved up to 12th position, having started in 17th. But he is up to 12th, and he is just hanging back there now. He's got Niles Anders just ahead of him, but in that other group, as they are looking to continue pulling away possibly that front end field, and they're still putting on a good show. Rachel, I see actually now this final turn, cars are starting to take different lines. Some are taking the all the way inside line, some are taking the outside line, and it looks like Christopher Demerit taking the outside line will get the pass done.
Yes, it looks like he will, of course. Not as much an issue of saving tyres here for these guys, as much as it is trying to find cleaner air, which you want to offset from the car in front of you so you don't get that aero push. A big factor in turn number 1 here. More than perhaps 3 to a large extent, but 1 is a bad one for it. You want to make sure you get some clean air, so going to the inside by half of car width or the outside. Gives the car some wiggle room, gives you grip from that aero push. So you really want to make sure you have a good separation, as you see in 3 and 4, well, 3 here, I should say, 3 and 4. You see the cars fan out into the corner. They get a line each, they find some grip, and then they fan back together on the exit.
Yes, and they join, and that is where problems we saw happen earlier, where not necessarily cars making contact, but one kind of led another into the wall. Christian Steele being the one of that. So Matt Pavelski, though, that turquoise IndyCar, looking to get past Paul Jennings, but I almost wonder if perhaps he's just sitting back there lying in wait, trying to see if they could possibly catch at over 220 miles an hour those lead 5 cars. I'm not sure that the field will have anything for those guys there today, but as they trade positions in actually the top 5 running single file almost for an entire lap, the rest of the field having spread out quite substantially, but there is this second pack of cars. It does look like the Sage Karam is already looking to go and attack Randy Krosno, as Sage Karam will go onto the inside for turn number 2, or actually turn number 1. Excuse me, already getting lost, as they will go past those trees, as Sage Karam will have made that pass, and now he's looking to possibly catch up to Vic Caudell. Randy, Sage Karam is pretty much on the attack, and I think when you start that far back, you pretty much have to be, as they almost look to be closing in on those cars that are up ahead of them, the 4 currently tailed by Vic Caudell, but Sage Karam already just on the attack as it is.
Yeah, when you start that far back in the pack, even though this is a long race, you still need to be pretty efficient and quick with getting through the field, but you also need to be safe and make sure you don't just end your race trying to make some overzealous attempts to get by people, which Sage has been doing a very, very good job getting through the pack quickly and safely. He's already broken into the top 10 after starting 24th. We're only 24 laps into this race. So he might very well have a top 5 car on his hands, depending on how cautions play out in race strategy.
Yes, and caution, as we had said, of course, there was the one caution so far for Brian R. Simpson, pegging it into the wall outside of turn number 1. So that had brought the field together, as Pavelski will look to finally make his pass on Paul Jennings. These 2 cars seem to be going quite similarly paced, as the front 5 are still relatively similar. It's Christopher Demerit and Brandon Trano still trading spots, with Alex Simpson and Tim Holgate in pursuit, with Brandon Trost stuck in the middle, as Matt Pavelski will not get that pass done on Paul Jennings. Now this is a game of patience, as it's allowed Vic Caudell and Martin Miller to catch up. Martin Miller, whom we qualifying lap we watched, but these battles that they keep doing up in the very front, it doesn't seem to be really ruining their lap times at all, as they are still, I believe, some of the fastest cars on the track. They're running almost 41 flats up in the front. And Rachel, you've raced here at Pocono, so these guys are just, as a driver, you're settling in, you're 26 laps in, you're almost to 30 laps, which in a green flag run, they would have been considering the pits, but now it's that distance is going to be dragged out.
Yeah, very much so. Of course, we're expecting to be in about lap 45 now. That's 11 lap per run, and the laps under caution, of course, extending that somewhat. But it's a tough stage of the race. You've had a caution now, you've had a reset, the field's bunched up again. You really want to get this spread out. You want room on the track, you want to be able to make moves and work with somebody to get your way further up the field. So this tight, congested racing is not helping that. It's really keeping the drivers somewhat on edge. So everyone's hoping this will settle down, spread out a bit, and you can go racing. Of course, once we start to get pit stops in, how well you get on and off pit road will be a major factor, and a much less congested pit road, which will be a big benefit to the drivers.
Yes, it was a very, very, an impressive sight. Certainly, as we saw, multiple drivers ended up having issues pulling into their pit stalls and pulling out. And obviously, in green flag run, it's going to be a lot easier. But if we do make it to green flag pit stops, and it looks like how the field has played out, we most certainly will. It is going to be an interesting run to see. I imagine, Randy, whenever those pit stops do come around, you almost have to come in with somebody else. I can't imagine you would drop in by yourself and take fuel and tires.
Yeah, unless you're really pushing some sort of fuel-saving strategy to maybe try to cut a pit stop or just go later into the race. There's no reason to go in by yourself, simply due to the impact that the draft has. But someone who we've been talking about as far as getting their ability to get through the field, only one driver has been under the 41-second bracket at a single time in this entire race, and it was Sage Karam with a 40.9.
Oh,
everyone else is running 41.1s and up. So Sage Karam has a fast race car in his hands right now.
Yes, yes, he does. Possibly showing a little early as he has caught Vic Caudell, though it might look that Vic Caudell actually, it might be a little deceptive, as Vic Caudell will fall victim to the constant rush from Sage Karam, as he will move and take away that position, number 9, away from Vic Caudell, as it looks like Vic might have had an issue there, as he was right on the wheel wells of Martin Miller, and now Sage Karam is looking to maybe pick up the draft from there. Now, I have to say, Rachel, I don't necessarily know too much about IndyCar draft mechanics, and I don't know, other than the extraordinarily intelligent engineering people who work on these setups and work on these cars, I don't know how long the draft range is on these cars. I can't imagine Sage Karam would be getting the draft from Martin Miller's car straight away.
It depends. Right now, of course, the gap between him and Miller's quite small, but he has got the draft behind from Vic Caudell, so that is a big benefit for Karam. So they'll get him a little bit closer, but Krosno behind him just tagged the wall there in the push behind Vic Caudell. Of course, those two drivers teammates, so they will be working together to an extent, but Krosno just got a bit of the safer barrier here at Pocono Raceway. That might well slow him down, but look at Karam off the corner. Karam really getting good drive out of turn number 1. That car turning very well.
Yes, and it's not necessarily just how the downforce, the suspension, and of course the in-car adjustments that we hear about on a week-in, week-out basis, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point. But these cars, they're very dependent on what the tires are doing. So as we close in on what would have been the end of the first stint. We've got about another 11 laps till that time period, as Sage Karam might have Vic Caudell, a very yellow IndyCar on the inside. No, they will think better of it. But Sage and the rest of the 16th Street Racing League crew will have to be wondering about those tires. Sage just gets a great push off of that exit. And, of course, Sage Karam, a 41.5 his lap time. Martin Miller just ahead of him was a 41.9, so perhaps they can
I'm looking at my standings. Miller, Poleski, and Jennings are each half second slower than Sage every lap consistently.
Well, perhaps that field, that second pack will catch that first pack, and things will get very interesting as nobody seems to have anything for that very front-running pack, Randy. They're running very constant 41.3s, and Brandon Trano and Christopher Demerit seem to have put aside their squabbles, and now they are absolutely hauling away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, they've definitely, I mean, the top 5, Trano, Demerit, Trostas, and Holgate, really 5 of the best drivers in, IndyCar, pretty much anywhere. And they're definitely just showing what hard work and possibly their ability to get their setups made and dialed in just a little bit more can do, because they're running a couple tenths faster for every lap, and when you're going 200 miles an hour, a couple tenths is pretty long way.
Oh, it's not even 210. They're almost hitting 230 going down the very front stretch. Is actually Tim Holgate now will hit 229, and that will be it for him. But right now, these cars, they seem to be dialed in, and it's how these cars are dialed in over the course of a run. Everyone seems to be right in each other's footsteps, which is, of course, something that's good for us to see as a viewer, but as one of these drivers, you really want to start trying to pass, as I think Trost might be trying to push the issue heading into turn number 3, but they will elect not to.
Oh, sorry, just to cut you off there, but Tim Holgate, very wide. He's lost the lead pack there. Big moment for him off turn number 3. Hopefully we can get a replay for you to show what happened there, but
he got
those
loose.
cars heading in, yeah.
He tagged the curb through turn 3, and the car just stepped out. He's very, very lucky to still have that car on the racetrack.
Yeah, he could have been in the wall there, Randy. Yeah. That was so close to being a big incident for Tim Holgate, but he looks after that car, but again, lost the lead back there. He'll start to fall back to Jennings and Pavelski behind him. So Tim Holgate not having the day he wanted or needed.
No, not at all. And we were just talking about earlier about Tim Holgate. A good top 5 would be very good. He is in 3rd position in the overall points. He just barely tagged. I would say there wasn't more than a quarter tire on that white line in those curbings, but he managed to gather the car up, and not in a manner that he spins himself out. These cars, when you're not going at complete speed, they're not necessarily the most controllable thing. So Tim Holgate able to gather that pony up, and he's going to keep on riding to fight another day, and I think he'll be at the very least happy with that. No, not happy to have lost the pack ahead of him, but even then he's only just about 1.8 seconds behind, but it's not going to matter. He's going to be about 0.7 of a second slower lap after lap on Paul Jennings and Matt Pavelski, being pursued by Sage Karam and Martin Miller, as Randy Krasnow and, Vic Caudill and Randy Krasnow are actually fighting for position. So those guys are also fighting. And behind them, Niles Anders and Tim Doyle are also side by side. So perhaps just the positioning of the cars is what is worth fighting for, as one car tracks very high up. Tim Doyle will have to back well out of the throttle, well into the 100s, which normal speed, you say that's mind-blowing, but for these cars, they're pulling about 220, and that's very good for them. So Niles Anders able to take that position from Tim Doyle after that Doyle mistake. Now, there might be something else. This track's 2.5 miles long, and as such, lapped cars shouldn't really be an issue, but it could happen at some point, Rachel, that these cars are all going to start catching each other. Somebody's tires are going to go. Somebody has a mistake like what Holgate had earlier on, and the next thing you know, these leader cars are going to have to make their way through this lap draft traffic. I seem to have missed Rachel right now.
You didn't, actually? I had a microphone issue, but I am back.
Oh, okay, he's back.
Yeah. Sorry, no, the lap traffic provides quite a useful tool to your leaders, of course. They can catch up to them, they can use a bit of draft off those lap cars to actually help them pull away from the packs they're involved in. So it can set an example at the front, actually, and provide a pick for drivers who aren't leading to try and get past. So that'll be a big advantage for them, but of course, we are really running to a fuel number here at Pocono rather than the tyre wear, perhaps. So we are losing most drivers like heading about the same time within a lap or two, so field should cycle through pretty rapidly.
Yes, and as we talked about earlier with Randy, just coming into the pits here, it's going to be one of those things where you're going to be coming in with somebody. You do not want to come in on your own. So your strategy that you might have set out, which has already been disrupted by this by this early caution. The caution came out on lap number 11. So you may be having a little bit alternate strategy on that. But for the most part, though, you come in when you wanted to come in, and then somebody comes in just a couple of laps ahead of you, or comes in a lap or two earlier than which you wanted to come in, and then, well, you have to change your strategy so you can come in and stay with the draft partner, as it looks like Demerit has absolutely, in that Broken Arrow IndyCar, he's, I won't say he's throttled it back, but he is saving as much as that precious fuel as he can, as it's pretty obvious that for the most part they are going to be staying green. Demerit actually tries to prove me wrong in that 144 IndyCar right as soon as I said that, but he immediately comes back in, and he's already lost it. As I think these cars, Randy, as these tires wear down, I'm noticing that they're getting a lot more off throttle, and they're getting a heck of a lot closer to that outside wall.
Yeah, these tires get worn out, and the cars even get lighter. They can be a little bit more lively. They need to be a little bit careful through the corners, but we're looking at a lap 41 right now. We should be looking at about 4 to 5 laps or so before we start seeing cars head down to pit lane for the first time for green flag.
Yes, as they've already come down that one time on lap 11 for the caution with Brian Simpson's incident. But and of course, Pocono, you know, for all it has, it's almost a difficult pit entry. I mean, it's a straight shot into an exorbitantly wide pit lane. It's 4 lanes of pit lane, which is a lot. It's just a matter of finding exactly where. It's almost so boring of a pit entry. It's hard to hit your brake marker in the exact same spot to go and drop from 200 plus miles an hour to a paltry 60 miles an hour, which is highway speeds for us people on the road. So, anyway, Brandon Traina will trick off 130, one lap number 43, not 143. If we tricked off 143, that would be a very interesting race indeed. So Brandon Traino ticking off lap number 43, and this is when really he should be coming in, as Paul Jennings, I believe, is going to be coming in this time by. He's already allowing Matt Pavelski by, as he had a pretty bad exit off of turn number 2, I believe it was, as they'll go into turn number 2 just now. And so Paul Jennings at least announced that this is going to be his time in. We'll see who joins him.
Well, Brandon Traino's in from the lead, so there's one of his friends joining him down pit lane.
Karam nearly big incident. Karam has he sideways for Sage Karam. Very late decision. Gonna get a replay up for you there, but Karam comes in behind Jennings. Karam's tighter underneath him. Jennings cuts across. He swerves. The car slides. Big save by Sage Karam there. Makes it onto pit road, and for a special viewer, undies have been soiled.
I wanted to say it.
Well, maybe not for the professional racing car driver that is Sage Karam, but boy, did he gather that pony up, and he has now pulled that in. Now, of course, Eric Davis in the background also coming down pit lane. Now, here's the real question: did Sage Karam even want to come into the pit lane? Now, Jennings having announced his candidacy to go down to the pits, as Sage Karam pulls right into his pit box, and he has no problem this time by. But either way, Christopher Demerit is actually right behind Sage Karam, which is I couldn't make a better segue if I tried, as the current leader of the race, currently pursued by Alex Simpson and Brandon Trost, albeit by somewhat of a gap. As you have to wonder, is he going to be coming in this time? Christopher Demerit, of course, he will have some faster car, some lap cars ahead of him, as he will manage to pull in Christopher Demerit as well as the rest of the front running field. Brandon Trost is the only one who has not stayed out. If you're Brandon Trost, I almost wonder if you've made a bad decision now. You are all on your own with no draft around you, as the cars of Alex Simpson and Tim Holgate will come in down the pits, as well as Vic Caudill. Martin Miller will come in for new tires and new fuel. And it will be Christopher Demerit. It will be Alex Simpson. Let's see who else is in the pit lane. Tim Holgate. He will be out with a very quick 11.2 stop. He will actually come out just ahead of. That is the car of Alex Simpson. He will actually be behind. So That will be Tim Holgate. A little bit of a gap between him and Alex Simpson. Alex Simpson, a 9.6 pit stop with Tim Holgate an 11.2. And you can just see how on track is they have quite a gap to Christopher Demerit as well as Brandon Traino. So these 4 cars, once the pit cycle comes through, these will be your front-running 4 cars as they all come into the pits and all exit at the same time. Niles Anders, I almost wondered, did Niles Anders have an incident? Oh, no, actually, what?
He just stayed out late?
Oh, he ran out of fuel, perhaps. That looks exactly, that is exactly what had happened.
Fuel.
Oh, heavens, he had to take 2 corners, almost 2/3 of this track without fuel, which is impressive to say the least that he made it, but any position that he had made, he was up to 6th or 5th or 6th. He is absolutely, that's, Randy, as far as emotions have to go, running out of fuel just after you pass pit lane, that's got to be a rough one to take.
Oh, yeah. Chances are he run out right when he got into turn 1, and that's never a good feeling. Now, not sure what happened when he was coming in. There may have been a car to his inside. He may not have been able to safely get down and into the pit lane, but there's no bigger frustration than knowing that you and your crew missed your pit number or your fuel number by that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious, well, it should at least be pretty obvious that you're not going to make the 2.5-mile oval. I would always err on the side of caution, but you never know. Something could have happened there. But either way, Brandon Traino, now that almost everybody has come in, well, everyone has come in for their second pit stop. The only ones that haven't have unfortunately exited the race due to incident. But right now, Brandon Traino is ahead of Christopher Demerit as Niles Anders has managed to find his way in that front-running pack. Those lapped cars are actually joining this first running group as Alex Simpson and Brandon Trost will be scorching away in 3rd and 4th respectively, with Tim Holgate in 5th. So after one round of pit stop, we're going to see if we can't take a very quick commercial break and just reset the field as we are currently underway here, just closing out the first 50 laps of the 16th Street Racing League race here at Pocono Raceway. This is Race Spot TV, and we will be just back after a few moments from a couple of our commercials. Welcome back to Pocono Raceway here in Pennsylvania in the United States. It is the 3-turned Pocono Raceway. Of course, they do have the road courses available, but these Indy cars are ripping away at over 220 miles an hour. This 3-turn super speedway here in the Pocono Mountain Range. It is Brandon Traino on top in the first position. Christopher Demerit hot on his heels, less than 1/10 a second away. And then you have in third and fourth positions the pair of Alex Simpson and Brandon Trost, with Tim Holgate watching from afar, just waiting for someone to make a mistake as he is out of the leaders draft due to a slower pit stop, almost 2 seconds slower than the front five that he had come in. Now, as we reset the field and we look through, Brandon Traino, he's spent a lot of time up in the front there, Randy Chenworth, joining us here for the Race Spot TV broadcast. Randy, Brandon Traino spent a lot of time up on the front nose as Demerit almost looks to go to the inside, but he hasn't committed yet, Demerit. Is he just going to be saving his fuel? And it really, Christopher Demerit is going to be the winner of this battle as long as he's able to keep that fuel number down.
Yeah, it's certainly possible because the thing that's unfortunate about that first caution is it more or less forced everyone to a weird sort of strategy where they can do about 30 laps on gas, and that caution came out around lap 13, lap 14. So they were essentially halfway through the run. If he can save 2 to 3 laps per stop, he might be able to get enough to actually make it to the end, whereas Traino might need a splash dash. So it's certainly something he could be looking to do, but it's also pretty risky and possibly unlikely, simply given the amount of laps you would have to make up.
Yes, and speaking of fuel numbers, Niles Anders was unfortunately not able to get the calculations right as he is actually dropping off of the front runners. He's not trying to pressure them as Niles Anders. He might look like he is in third place, but he is actually 1 lap down in the 20th position. He had run out of fuel and had to coast over 2/3 a lap. And Rachel Whiteford also joining me here. It's got to be one of the worst feelings in the world to make that mistake. But, for right now, if anything happens, he's right behind the leaders.
Well, if it's the time to make a mistake is at this stage in the race, Cam. We're at 55 laps in. We have about 85 to go, so there's plenty of time to recover from this one. Of course, strategy can do it. You can go into fuel saving. But at the same time, you can also go into a position where you are the lucky dog. You're the first car 1 lap down. There's only one of them. So if we get a caution, you can get past. Especially when we won't have a lucky dog because this is IndyCar, of course. So he can take the wave around if he needs to. But strategy, he can probably end up back on the lead lap. So it's not entirely over yet.
No, it's not entirely over yet. For anything, actually, is Brandon Traino and Christopher Demerit, they've already had a couple of quite close run-ins here as Demerit and Traino had, originally at the start of the race, they were trading positions rather haphazardly just in the early running. So as Alex Simpson and Brandon Trost are also, I think they've given up and trying to pass each other, and they are just looking to make up the time to perhaps catch up to the cars of Niles Anders, Christopher Demerit, and Brandon Traino. But here, rather interestingly, they will start lapped traffic proper. Terry Mathias and Michael Peters and Vic Caudill are on the agenda in the next coming laps for these lead lap cars. And Randy, we've already talked about it once. It's just getting through this lap traffic. It shouldn't be too big of a deal. I mean, the track's certainly wide enough, but as far as picks go, I think a slower car that's not in a draft would be rather easy pickings.
Well, it really depends on where you catch them. If you're going down a straightaway, any car is pretty much easy to pass, even if they're slower than you a lap down. But if you come up across some of those slower cars in the middle of a corner, especially as close as Traino and Demerit have been, or even in the cases with Simpson and Trost, it can really be really cause a lot of issues, and you could see a bit of a shakeup of people may have to get out of the gas or get back into it and go offline in order to get around that slower car in the middle of a corner.
And as we saw earlier, Tim Holgate had that issue where he clipped the inside barrier. Oh heavens no. No, he clipped the inside curbing, that inside white line, and that shot him across the track. He was able to load up and keep his car off of the barrier, but it took the entire width of Pocono Raceway to do it, and that is a rather wide track to have that gathered up. I'm sure if there's traffic around, most certainly would not would not happen without at least some sort of an incident. As you can see the battle between Eric Davis and Dean Mole on your screens. Of course, that Banshee Autosport car against Dean Mole's number 31 IndyCar with it's actually Tim Miller looking on in the background. So as we just start to look through the field, we can also we can almost just kind of go through the field here as everyone seems quite settled in. They're just recouping after this pit lane. And Rachel, we'll start with Brandon Traino. He's qualified first. He's up in first. I think he's doing a pretty fair job.
Yeah, Trainer having a great race right now in that Steak and Shake number 15 car. Just a stellar performance so far. Of course, he has been passed. He hasn't been leading all race, but looking like he's in command of the field. That car certainly has the power in clean air, very dominant, but not as good in traffic.
And we'll have to see what would happen later on in the race as Christopher Demerit is just sitting behind and he's saving his fuel. We've already talked about his fuel strategy. Those last couple of laps, he's going to have enough to really pile it on. I don't think he's using his tires, but it has been Christopher Demerit in the second position in that Broken Arrow IndyCar pretty much all day.
Yeah, pretty much. We did have that 5-car train for really the first 30 to 40 laps or so before Holgate got a little sideways, and I think Simpson nearly tagged the wall and had to get out of it. But now the top two have pretty much separated from the top, or from third and fourth. But yeah, Chris is probably just sitting back, relaxing. There's still, I mean, we're not even at the halfway point just yet, and there's no point in really pushing too hard when you're that close to the leader. Just sit, just log laps, make sure you're there at the end of the race.
Yes, and so speaking of that lap traffic, Niles Anders and Terry Mathiasen is in front of our third position car, Alex Simpson. Now, Alex, for that Apex Racing UK IndyCar, he'll go on the inside line. Now, of course, this is a little bit of troublesome as Niles Anders and Terry Mathiasen are fighting, and this will actually hold up Alex Simpson. He has to back out quite a bit, and you'd hate to see something like this, but Christopher Demerit, unless you're Christopher Demerit and Brandon Traino, but Alex Simpson, as he's trying to work his way around those those lapped cars, he has been having a relatively good race. He started in fourth. It hasn't necessarily been quiet, but for the most part, he has been wheeling and dealing that car fairly well. I think he's just spent a lot of his time learning exactly where you can ride the car and exactly where you can pass, as Brandon Trost, the number 4th car, the 4th position car, number 007, will be trying to make that pass on Alex Simpson, but Simpson, even managing his way through lap traffic, will come away just ahead. But Rachel, Brandon Trost, he has been running that IndyCar, that 007 IndyCar, all season long fairly well. I think he's even coming away almost with a win or two, if I'm remembering correctly, as Brandon Trost... no, he has not had a win this season, I'm sorry, as somebody pulls into the pits, so it's Michael Peters. But for the most part, though, Brandon Trost has been having ultimately a very busy race.
Yeah, very much so. Of course, Trost made some big moves at the start of the race, and he's been pretty consistent so far. He's currently sitting 49 points behind your series leader, that's Alex Simpson, of course, but he's not too many points away from Traino, currently leading Tim Doyle and Tim Holgate, so a lot can change for him. No wins, but he has 3 top 5s in 6 races, so been a pretty good season so far for Trost.
Yes, and he's riding that outside line, much like Demerit was through turn 3. I find that very interesting. But either way, now, Randy, we'll go to Tim Holgate. He wasn't here for Road America. He's hovering in 5th position. He started in 5th, didn't qualify the best, almost had an incident and wrecked his car. Do you think he's just holding on, or is he more or less waiting for what could happen later on?
Well, like we were talking about earlier, obviously he missing Road America. He definitely needs to just make sure he gets some good points in this race, because Tim Holgate, over the course of a championship, is almost always a contender in an IndyCar. So he has to make sure he gets some good points and can't throw it away trying to be over-aggressive and trying to go for 4th instead of 5th. There simply isn't enough benefit there for that. So I think he's just riding. I think everyone's expecting at least one more yellow, considering we still have, 73 laps to go. So yeah, for him, doing what he's doing now, just staying calm, staying cool, riding in 5th place, try to salvage some of those points. 6 seconds ahead of the next car back for position, which is there, Sage Karam. There's not much more he can really do at the moment.
Yeah, so Sage Karam, just as we mentioned, a scant 6 seconds behind. And it's actually about 9 seconds right now as they come through the to finish out lap number, as they'll enter turn number 3. But Sage Karam, as they'll finish out lap number 67 on the final stretch now. Now Sage Karam, he's had a very, very event-worthy race. He started in 24th position, the last car on the field. He's gained a total of 18 positions over 68 laps, and that has just been very impressive indeed. And this was even having a absolutely miserable pit stop. He'd managed to miss his pit stall, which was actually one of the best stalls you can get. There's actually the access road just ahead of it, so you can slide relatively easily and pull away cleanly without any worries. But he managed to make that second pit stop, no problems on the green flag pit stop that we just had earlier, as Dean Moll will pull into the pit lane, and he will start one of the couple of cars that have trickled in a little early, possibly trying to get off sequence. But Sage Karam, he's right now currently pursued, Rachel, by the very turquoise and relatively familiar, if you're familiar with possibly internet memes, the extraordinarily turquoise IndyCar of Matt Pavelski.
He is, very much so, and Pavelski running in P number 7 right now. He's up 8 positions from P15. Karam, definitely the biggest mover though, up 18 spots. Huge gains for him. You can just see his experience at this sort of track paying off so much. He works the aero so well. Pavelski though, doing a good job. He's up a few spots. He's been higher, but in a good spot right now with Karam. Following Karam would not be a bad idea for Pavelski.
Yes, and it's not every day you get to run tarmac, even if it's virtual, with a real IndyCar driver like Sage Karam is. So Matt Pavelski following, and right behind him is Martin Miller, whom's qualifying lap we watched there, Randy. He started in 5th. He's down to 8th position. He's just hanging around in that Banshee Autosports car. I imagine at this point he is just going to be waiting for possibly that late caution, or hopefully a very good pit stop, which shouldn't be too long now.
Yeah, Martin's one of the more experienced guys in the field. He's been running the IndyCar for probably close to 3 or 4 years now. As we got word that Simpson is in the pit, and it's Alex Simpson. But yeah, the Banshee guys in general take a very late game approach to their strategy, in my experience. As
guys, interesting news
Karam
actually.
Was way
Karam,
off. Yeah, Karam
big pace. Yeah, I want to try and find what happened to Sage Karam there. And I believe Karam might have pushed out of turn 1. He did. Sage Karam. Oh, he's tagged the wall. Sage Karam got the wall off turn 1. I'm going to get a replay for you there. Some damage to the right-hand side pod there of his Big Machine Records car. But, momentum lost in a big way there for him.
Yeah, he was going through the middle of turn 1, and he caught a bump, and the car stepped out just a little bit. Got him offline, and it pushed up the track and right out into the outside wall. That, hopefully he's not got big damage. That could be potentially game over in some ways at this stage.
Well, seeing as he is immediately went on the attack of the Banshee Autosport cars, he has come into the pits. They've put 4 fresh boots on it and filled it with that virtual racing fuel. They will get that car back on track. Sage Karam, I guess right now, if you were going to have an incident like this, those tires, I think, definitely had an influence. The tires with the aero, as he managed to push out and had that incident happen. But for the most part, it looks like he has survived, as he will pull away. The rest of the field looking to potentially come into pit at least in the next lap or 2. As, of course, the earliest car to pit is Alex Simpson. We didn't get much time to talk about his pit excursion, but he pulled into the pits. Wasn't a problem there. And yes, Brandon Trano, your race leader here at the 16th Street race at Pocono Raceway, will come in, and he will be followed by Terry Mathiansen. And it seems like that is pretty much it as far as who is coming down pit road right now. And if you're, if you're Brandon Trano, I almost have to worry that you might have just made, Randy, the wrong decision to come into the pits when nobody followed you.
Yeah, fortunately, I mean, it could definitely backfire, but fortunately, this late into the run, people are going to be coming in within the next lap or two anyways, so any advantage they have will be marginal. But yeah, it definitely could be a bad decision when we have Trano out there getting back onto the racing surface into turn one and listen to the radio chatter. A lot more cars getting ready to come down in the pit lane right now.
Yes, as of course we still have now Demerit, Trost, and Holgate. Holgate looking to recover from that horrible pit stop that he had
Doyle,
earlier.
Pileski, and Krosno in the lane right now.
Yes, Doyle, Pavelski, and Krosno in the lane. Of course, these guys all running with each other as it will be the car of, I think it's Tim Doyle's that ends up pulling in first, as my pictures of the pit lane are rather distorted, but Matt Pavelski will be in his position, Tim Doyle, and that will be those two guys. Now, of course, Pavelski was the one chasing Sage Karam, but Sage had that incident and immediately came into the pit lane. So Matt Pavelski, after a relatively quick pit stop, will be back on track, and that will be it is a 11.5 pit stop. I lied. So Rachel, I'm noticing a pretty big difference between how long these cars are actually stopping on pit road. A lot of cars are getting a 9.4, 9.8, but some cars are getting all the way up into the 11s. Vic Caudell just had an 11.9 second pit stop. Well, his last one was, as he is actually in the pits right now, Vic Caudell, and we'll have to see if his crew can make it any better. But I've noticed this time gap between them, and that's got everything to do with the entry and exit of your actual pit stall.
Yeah, very much so, of course. Getting stopped quickly is a big thing, but getting the car stopped in the best position for your crew does actually decrease, I should say, the time before they can get to work, of course, on the car. So, the more central, the more quickly you get the car stopped right in the right place, the faster they can get to work. So, better pit stop. These longer stops looks like guys overshooting their box slightly or just tiptoeing into the box. So, yeah, some slow stops. An 11-second stop is way over what we expect, even for a full tank of fuel. You can expect 4 Firestone tyres and Sunoco race fuel, a full tank, in at least the 9-second range. So, the 11-second stops, there's mistakes happening there, much higher.
Chris Demerit is in the pit lane, who was our current leader.
Yeah, Demerit was entering pit lane, and of course Brandon Trost, who has yet to pit, will take the lead, obviously, as Tim Holgate has also pitted, as I believe Miles Anders also might have. But either way, Brandon Trost will lead his lap, and then he will have to come into the pits as Demerit will leave the pit lane. Now, where is the rest of the traffic? Tim Holgate is going to be looking to scorch right by Demerit. Demerit is able to get out, Randy, just ahead of Brandon Trano, and I almost wondered.
But he's not up to speed yet, and Trano's coming hard. He's going to be getting passed down into turn 2 right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that is exactly what has happened, that Broken Arrow car. You know what? Look, if you go through a green flag pit cycle and you wonder, could Christopher Demerit have been saving fuel that entire time, saving tires? Well, if he had saved it all for the chance to pass that number 15 IndyCar, that chance has since went away. But right now, though, at the very least, the lap traffic seems to have cleared, as now it will be, as Trost comes into the pits, and Randy, Trost is coming to the pits, yes.
Yes, Troust is coming in right now, and, Demerit, if he's playing the fuel game strategy, he's playing the long con. He's not worried about getting past in the middle of a stint, and if he is worried about getting by, it's not going to be, just ahead in the middle of the race. He's definitely, if he's trying to save fuel, he needs to be aiming for the end of the race, which is, I think, what he's doing. And so far, he's gone 3 to 4 laps further on every stint. I think he could be a potential contender to try to be one who doesn't have to splash and dash, as opposed to some of the rest of this field.
Yes, and that number 007 car will be coming out as the full speed ahead Brandon Trano and Christopher Demerit pair, as well as Alex Simpson, will get past Brandon Trost, as Brandon Trost will still have more speed to pick up, so those cars are going to be just dots in the up ahead, as Tim Holgate will still be back there in 5th position. And now, just looking through these cars on the track, it is just Matt Pavelski in the car number 75, Rachel, and Sage Karam. They are still battling, even though Sage had that incident, and they've both gone to the pits.
They have, and I've been looking at his lap times actually, Cam. Sage Karam still running very good lap times. That car does not seem to have suffered any significant aero damage, so he couldn't have been the luckiest man alive. That car is holding on, the speed is in there. I mean, his last lap by was a 41.6, which is on pace for the draft having to back out behind the driver, so he's running good lap times. He's still in with a shout here, but after a couple of green flag stops, they are 13 seconds back from your leaders, which is certainly a big gap.
It absolutely is, and I was going to say, Sage almost looking like he wants to bump draft with Matt Pavelski, but he'll think better. Oh, he's just so close. I think that is just all from the perception of the cars and the real-life experience he has. Of course, the only time I've ever gone over 200 is in a passenger airliner, which is far less exciting to be in than an IndyCar. So Sage Karam, using that experience, he's just tucked up so close behind Matt Pavelski. But for the most part, though, it seems to be washing the air off of that nose, possibly. And you'd hate to see him climb up into that wall. I think Sage Karam might be having one of the better drives of all of our celebrity drivers. Of course, we've had the names of Will Power Racing, as well as quite a few other drivers, retired and active, as well as officials here on from the Verizon IndyCar Series racing along with us. And I think Sage, Randy, might be putting on one of the better shows that we could have ever seen here.
Yeah, he certainly is. Like we've been saying, he's about just under 14 seconds back at this point. Really, if he's going to be a contender for the win, he needs another yellow. Obviously dodged a bullet with not getting any major damage from that slight contact, and he's still mixing it up with Matt Pavelski lap after lap. Matt being one of the more experienced guys in the field and probably one of the most well-versed across different forms of motorsport, or in iRacing. But yeah, Sage putting on a heck of a show, and he's right tucked up under Matt's gearbox at the moment.
He is. If it was another driver, I mean, if it was Tim Holgate or Alex Simpson, I think I would be okay with it. But man, not many drivers I could trust. His nose cone is legitimately under the rain indicator lights for that IndyCar. Is just so extraordinarily close as Sage Karam, and I think their lap times are showing of it. They've got to track down Martin Miller. Martin Miller, who's running basically undrafted, he's still running 41.4s, which is very impressive. But Matt Pavelski and Sage Karam, these guys could potentially catch him. We've definitely got the time to do it. We are just closing out lap number 84 as the yellow flag is out. The pace car is going to be deployed out onto the track, and we are going to figure out what the heck just happened, as it looks like Jennings has had an incident. Paul Jennings, oh heavens, Paul Jennings, he started in 13th position, but he had been running top 5, well, not top 5, but 8th or 9th all race long. Oh, it looks, as I'm sure you will be seeing on the replay pictures, exactly what has happened. It looks like Paul Jennings, Rachel, might have had an incident with Eric Davis entering that quick turn number 1.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened. Cam, of course, big moment for him. That car hard into the outside wall. Davis underneath Jennings there. Davis comes up slightly, and Davis just, we'll see that on the replay here, but back end of Davis just catches him hard. Jennings, big impact there into the inside wall, or outside wall, I should apologize, but oh, huge impact there for Paul Jennings. His race is certainly over, but you know who this saves? Sage Karam and Matt Pavelski. They're back on the rear of the leaders.
Oh, it's not just the back of the rear of the leaders. These leaders now, this is almost actually eerily enough exactly right about where they had pitted last time by. They've still got relatively new tires, but they're full on fuel. So pace car is going to be dropping around. I am not necessarily sure if I come down pit road. I imagine everyone should be coming down pit road. I think tires are very important, as it looks like Treno is already leaning on the inside here of the exit to turn number 2 as they head down, actually, yes, it is turn number 2. Okay. As they head down, Treno, Demerit, Simpson, and obviously those lap cars will be waved around through the field, but it's just such an interesting time as this kind of opens the strategy book wide open. Anyone that had a plan before you got to start thinking about what changes you can have. And Randy, as the cars are looking to maybe come down pit road, yes, it looks like everyone will be coming down. They're going to get 4 tires, they're going to get fuel. This really throws a wrench in the entire race.
Yeah, it certainly does, and I think we had a couple people maybe stay out. A couple people jumped out. None of our leaders. Never mind. I take that back. But yeah, this really does throw a bit of a wrench into the strategy pool. Christopher Demerit, if he has been saving fuel all race, obviously would be a little upset by this. Although, given my doing a little bit of math, they can make it on one more stop from here.
One more stop indeed. In a battle off of pit road, they ended up going 3 wide between Matt Pavelski and Tim Holgate, as looks like Matt Pavelski had an absolutely fantastic pit stop. As going to go take a quick look at the pit road at times here. It looks like Matt Pavelski with a 6.5 second stop. Now that's very interesting. He is obviously not taking a full tank of fuel. I mean, they just filled up, so really these tanks shouldn't take too long to get the fuel into it. But I believe Pavelski has had a very, very fast pit stop. He came in just around Sage Karam. He's now up to 6th position, whereas Sage Karam came out in 8th. So, Rachel, this battle that we have been enjoying so very much just got split up, but as the cars are coming down to fill out another caution lap, I believe this next lap, the lap cars might come through, and then obviously after that, everyone will rejoin and the race will resume. But this restart is going to be so extraordinarily vital, and if we've seen Sage Karam and Brandon Trust starts, it's going to be very exciting.
It should be. With this being closer to the end of the race, I expect a lot of harder racing now. We're in that final part. These guys know there's one more stop if this goes green, so track position is vital now. So we're going to see a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing here. I suspect we might have a couple more yellow flags come out and some messes to clean up, because this is going to start to get really ferocious. We're going to see those big 4, 5, 6 wide restarts. Now is an important time for this. Of course, this track is a key one to really think about, because as it stands, the pace car pulls off pretty late and the green flag displays pretty quickly, so not much time to react once that safety car goes off. Everyone kind of knows when it's going to go, so you'll find a lot of drivers getting the jump as well as the leader. So there isn't much variation and much time for the leader to vary it up in the restart zone. So expect this to be a wild one.
Yeah, so the lights on the American Childhood Cancer Organization fundraiser car will go out. That Ford Mustang will be leading Brandon Traino, Christopher Demerit, Brandon Trost, Alex Simpson, and Tim Holgate in the top 5 to the line. And right on the rear end of Tim Holgate is a turquoised car of Matt Pavelski. Pavelski looking to do good on his home track. Martin Miller is going to be in 7th. Tim Doyle in 8th. Sage Karam in 9th position. And then there's actually a rather sizable gap between him and Randy Krosno, perhaps detecting something might just go wrong. But I'm sure they'll close up once the lap will start getting towards its completion as the field exits turn number 2. Randy, if somebody's going to have a great start, who does it have to be in this restart?
Sage Karam, he's been showing that he's fast all day, and he has to get himself out front now and keep himself there.
All right, so we will find out in just but one moment's time as we will reset one more time, potentially the last caution. But as we all know, the overused saying, cautions breed cautions. Hopefully not, as Brandon Traino will lead the entirety of the field. It is still a whopping, there are 15 cars on the lead lap on its own as they will come out, and the green flag will go to Brandon Traino. He will start immediately in the entire field. Serpentines a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and everyone will stay in single file for right now, but Tim Holgate with a good start. He will have to back it off. Randy Krosno keeping the field at bay. 15 cars in the lead lap, thank you, as Brandon Traino will end up still becoming under pressure by Christopher Demerit. Demerit now, after having enough of it riding around, I think he's done saving fuel now, as he and Brandon Traino will be under attack now by Brandon Trost as well as Alex Simpson holding up. Tim Holgate looking to get involved. Matt Pavelski is going to be staying steadily in 6th. I think the sixth contender from this front five pack. If he can stay with it, he will go on the outside of Tim Holgate. Matt Pavelski will, and already lap number 1 is completed of this restarted race. So with 1 lap in, Christopher Demerit will look to finally take it. He has the new tires, he has the gas, he'll roll it out. And will the draft effect allow Trano to cross over? Yes, it will, as Alex Simpson falls relatively quickly back. I think that's an important decision from him. He will take that 6th position as the entire field storms away. Rachel, a relatively good start here, a little bit of side-by-side action, but for the most part, everybody is focused on getting that speed involved and getting away, as it looks like the front 5 has now become the front 6, and they are ready.
Oh, they are indeed. And Simpson has to play a strategic race here, of course. He has to finish ahead of Matt Pavelski because he's the car directly behind him in points. That's 3 points back. Behind that is 23 points to the driver of Tim Holgate. So Simpson really has to finish ahead of Pavelski. That's a good race for him. All he needs to achieve. On the road course, he's a much stronger driver. So that's a safe zone for Alex Simpson. But he has to be strategic here. He doesn't need to get involved. If these guys cause a mess, he can drop a few spots. This thing's getting very, very busy. Down in your bottom end of your top 10. Karam down to P number 10 there. Krosno and Cordil. Also Tim Doyle getting involved.
Yes, these cars are slicing and dicing as we just finish out lap number 91, starting lap number 92. The field now hanging all together. No need to worry about lap traffic. It shouldn't.
Oh, we got a car on the wall. One of our leaders, Holgate, tagged the wall in the exit of turn 3.
No, he might have tagged the wall. Indeed, we'll take a quick look at that. Yes, he did. He most certainly did on the exit. Didn't look like he was helped there, but he stays in it much like Sage Karam has, and his car still seems to be quite competitive. And already Tim Holgate looking to get past Alex Simpson on the inside. He will get it done in turn number 3 as they start. It's a finish yet another 2.5 mile lap here. Alex Simpson already looking though to recover and take that position back. Martin Miller though is looking to catch back up, but he and the rest of this front-running field is still joined together. I'm not quite sure if these front 5 cars are going to be pulling away. The way they're battling, Demerit is back to the lead, and they're 3 wide. Tim Holgate, Alex Simpson backing wisely out from him, Tim Holgate, Matt Pavelski, Rachel. These cars are starting to slice and dice. Brandon Trano and Christopher Demerit. I almost wonder now if they're starting to try and really pressure each other into giving up that front-running position.
I think they are, and well, guys behind him perhaps dropping back a little bit. Trainer and Trost next to each other on the track can be sometimes a very magnetic combination, as the two Brandons can often get very, very racy. But Demerit there, ahead of the two of them, he will try and avoid this one. He pulls a bit of a gap. That car, as I said earlier, been really good in clean air, and he had to get out there very, very early. As Trost looked to the inside of Trainer here, he'll duck back in line, so saving for now. I'm not sure if the crew behind him have backed off, but Holgate back in front of that small pack of 4. That is Holgate, Pavelski, Miller, and Simpson getting involved. A few of those cars have had tagged a wall once or twice, so this is somewhat the Invalid Club back in P number 4 through 7.
Yeah, so as we took away another lap here at Pocono, Brandon Trano's now holding back onto that lead. I almost wonder if Demerit was really just trying to see what could happen on a caution at the start of the green, at perhaps the end of the race when they have a caution. Tim Holgate is retaking that position from Matt Pavelski, the number 4 position for Tim Holgate. I almost wonder these guys are going back and forth. That has allowed Brandon Trust, Christopher Demerit, and Brandon Trano to start pulling away. Already different lines being taken. Trano, Demerit is hanging the car out on the outside. But I will say, though, between Matt Pavelski and Tim Holgate now, Martin Miller, Alex Simpson, and Sage Karam with Vic Caudill have now caught up to them. And now it is starting to form that second train, though that would mean that the front train is just 3 cars and Brandon Trust having to get way out as he tried to go for the lead. Brandon Trust had to back well out. He is still not up to speed, and they are just about to get done with the first straight heading into turn number 2, so Trust will have to hold it off for one moment. Randy, that was a little bit of a sketchy moment there.
Yeah, the place you don't want to get loose is definitely turn 1, and Trust stepped out just a little bit, had to get way out of the gas. He might have brought Tim Holgate into draft range Holgate might be in draft range with Trost now after that little hiccup. So that's going to be interesting to see, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to be able to pull Holgate to the rest of the pack.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty close right now. This pack has dropped off your lead 3, of course, and the lead 3 are battling, so it could allow them to close up here, but it's going to be really tight, of course. Tim Holgate has tagged the wall. Velsky, we think that car is okay. In fact, it is okay. We know that Karam's been in the wall. Miller, again, not been in the wall, but I think it's a combination of having 2 cars with some aero damage, 2 cars without. They haven't quite got the grunt to get back up to that lead 3. But the front 3 drivers, they've really been in the same place all race, Randy. Just pulling away constantly.
Yeah, the top 3, been top 4, top 5 a couple times, been pulling away. It's mostly been slight little mistakes from other cars that have been shaking up the leads and really making that 5-car train into a 2 to 3-car one. I think anyone in our top 6 right now has a car to possibly win the race. It all depends on how if we get green flag picked off, how that ends up playing out. Because like we were talking about earlier during the last yellow, they have, they can make it to the end on just one more stop, which we should be expecting here in about the next 10 to 15 laps.
Yeah, that's exactly what we should be expecting, and this will be the final stop, Randy, so we really will see those guys come in one more time, and then it will be the run to the end. So if we have any cautions now, this will really break the strategy as we just look back, and that is P number 9 and 10. Karam getting passed by Cordilla to 1, but Karam defends around the outside. Yes, I can say around the outside as well. But, no, great move there by him. Just defensive driving by Sid Karam, holding on to that position. Alex Simpson, though, dropping back hugely after he had a moment earlier on, as Karam looks to make a move into turn 3.
Yeah, Karam wants to make a move. He wants to slice right through that car of Alex Simpson like it's a pepperoni pizza. Let's see if he'll be able to as they come down on the exit of turn 3 down to the front straightaway. Going to be getting the draft. We heard a car get into the wall off of turn 3, it sounded like. I don't think it was Karam or Simpson. Karam goes to the inside into turn number 1 on Alex Simpson. Unless he's able to make that pass stick coming off of 1 and down into the entrance of turn 2, where all day we've been seeing cars making passes and losing their momentum as they go down to turn 2.
Yes, so Sage Karam, though, getting the quick overpass completed, but Alex Simpson fighting it right back in that Apex Racing UK car. So Simpson, of course, our race winner at Road America just 1 week ago, is still holding his own against one of the IndyCar's finest drivers here, as Sage Karam is still looking to get away with Vic Caudill kind of watching in the back. Might have been him that had that slight scrape, but his car looks relatively okay. But he is backed off just slightly, as Sage Karam will once again go to the inside here at turn number 1 at Pocono. He will be looking to complete that pass, but it is just not meant to be. It doesn't seem to me, Rachel, that anyone making the pass into turn 1, unless they are quite lucky, it's just not sticking for them.
No, because there's really one line you're wanting to run through to number 1, Cam. So the driver's having to get that optimal line. If you compromise it by having to go inside or outside, you're either having to lift, well, in both directions, you're having to lift more than you want to. So it's killing the momentum on that long back stretch down to turn 2. Best opportunities really are turn 2 and turn 3 for that, because the corners, they have more variety to them. You can run different lines. Turn 1, when it's banking, of course, modelled after Teterboro Speedway, is a tough track, a tough corner, I should say. And that line, that single wheel lane, makes a big impact on the momentum you carry.
Yes, as Demerit does look on the inside to get that second position in the third corner, you could definitely take that one too wide, as Christopher Demerit is pushing through. That was the tunnel turn he went too wide on. He'll have to whoa up his pony up exiting turn number 3, but he should be able to continue to keep the position, as Chost had to evade to the inside line. So Demerit picking up the second position now from Brandon Trost, and Brandon Trano is now up ahead. So Demerit still stuck in that sandwich, but this has allowed Tim Holgate, who has had to back well out of the throttle, and that's allowed Matt Pavelski to get involved, as well as Martin Miller, who is hanging back there in that 022 Banshee Autosport car. So this race is still wide open. It is going to still be now up to a 6-horse race, as Trost is looking to possibly make a move on Demerit. He thinks better of it. As the rest of the field, it's quite neglected right now, but looking back at Tim Doyle and Eric Davis and Tim Miller are involved, and a quick little battle here for 11th position. Doyle and Davis, another Banshee Autosport driver, as Eric Davis is looking to get past, and those famous colors of a paint scheme of which I cannot describe to you, as Tim Doyle, though, will still have that line position. So either way, Eric Davis, though, is looking to possibly make that move on that purple and black car. And Randy, other than this little battle here, and then, of course, the barnstormer of a battle we have developing out front, I think a lot of these guys, they're starting to get a little worn out on this extraordinary wheel-to-wheel racing that we are seeing here. They can only do it for so many laps, I think, before these tires start to really let them know through direct measures that they don't appreciate it.
Yeah, some of the guys are definitely just cruising, trying to get through this last pit stop, which is arguably a good idea. We are right now about 5 laps away from the window where if a caution comes out, they can make it to the end. So I'm sure no one wants to see a yellow come out just yet, because it'll either be
Trost looking to the inside for the lead of the race. Sorry, Randy, but Brandon Trost goes up the inside on turn number 3. He will take the lead, but it won't be for long, as up comes Brandon Traino, trying to take that P number 1 back into the run to turn number 1. Here we'll see that compromised line we were talking about. As I believe we just saw, that was Terry Mathinson on pit road actually as well, but we'll head back to the front. Yep, the inside line there for Traino, but as I said, compromised. Here comes Trost again. Turn 2, easy to carry 2 wide, so we'll see if Demerit's sitting here watching these two guys going at it and thinking, well, I'll have the scraps of whatever you two don't want, but right now, big battle between Brandon Trost and Brandon Traino.
And this is the most interesting part. Brandon Trost led that last lap by 0.043 of a second. Perhaps maybe that it will be telling in the future, as these drivers, I don't think necessarily they care about who leads lap number 106. I think it matters who leads the final lap of the race. So Trost maybe realizing, hey, if I pass him at this particular point as he gets mighty close, they get mighty close once again, Brandon Trost and Traino, they think better of it, or they do better of it at the very least. And Christopher Demerit, I almost have to start worrying if these guys with their slicing and dicing that perhaps something could happen as Trost is easily disposed of in the turn and the tunnel turn, as now these 3 cars, for all the battling they're doing, the gap between him and Tim Holgate and Brandon Traino, they're doing just about the same lap times, Randy, but that second group is most certainly 3 cars strong, and that first group is 3 cars strong. I'm not sure if they're going to catch him.
Yeah, they're running very, very similar lap times, but look, problem is you need to go faster to reel them in, and the front 3 are just a little bit faster than the group of Holgate, Pileski, and Miller. But I'm expecting the 4th through 6th group to play a little bit nicer than the leaders are right now. The leaders right now have a lot to play for. That second group of cars, they just need to, I mean, really, if there's a mistake from any one of the top 3, this second group of cars becomes the leading group.
It does, and it could be just the slightest of touches that could spell disaster for any of these cars, these open wheel cars. We've seen a couple of cars just dance as Sage Karam now right behind Alex Simpson. Alex Simpson, I hadn't realized how fallen back he had become. He restarted, I believe, in 3rd or 4th position. He has now dropped down to 7th, as now Sage Karam doing just as he did before. That car just dances ever so slightly. It's just sitting parked right behind that Apex Racing UK car. It is such a frightening view. The onboard is so scary that the little antenna, I'm afraid, is just going to bump into that LED light in the back. But for the corners, they will come off. The front wing will relieve itself from the rear end of that number 14 Apex Racing UK car. We'll go on board at least with a lap with Sage Karam here. This quick little 40-second lap here at this 2.5-mile Pocono Raceway. Listen to the engine notes as he will stick right behind that Apex Racing UK car.
Yeah, you're seeing there, Cam, just how much he has to get out of the gas behind that car and going through turn number 3. So it's a lot of work sitting that close to somebody, but the potential for saving fuel, going faster in general, quite high. But we really tend to see the biggest gain here is slingshotting past each other, where the car will use the draft from behind, move past the other car, and then pull them past. But right now, Karam, he's really just sitting in the draft there, so close. It's incredible. One error from Simpson and it would be over, but the Simpsons race is not going as he would want. He's currently sitting to a point where he would draw level with Pavelski in points. Pavelski in second right now, 3 points back from Simpson. Simpson 2 spots behind Pavelski, so this could be a very, very close one for the final points positions. And of course, if anything goes wrong with Karam, that's over.
It is, and Sage is just so good from getting momentum on the second. He's got to go. There he goes on the inside line. I have been waiting lap after lap. Oh my goodness gracious, he was just so close to the rear end. I am surprised nothing happened. It looked like he would get 4 or 5 inches away from the rear wing of that Dallara DW12 ahead of him, and he would just park. It was just an impressive sight to see as Alex Simpson now is going on the offensive, perhaps. No, he thinks better of it. I think these tires are getting a little clamped down as it is Tim Doyle, I believe, coming down pit lane, and he will get his car serviced. As you can now make it to the end pit lane, is the final pit stop is now open for business. Randy is Sage Karam pulls away from Alex Simpson just a little bit at a time. He's still under a little bit of pressure, but I think for the most part he's going to have the position. It's a now pit lane is clear. You don't have to worry about cars ahead of you if you're Sage Karam for entering pit lane, but for the most part, Sage Karam now in 7th position, having started in 24th.
Yeah, he's up in the top 70. He's pulling away, and I'm going to say Tim Holgate has tagged the wall on the exit of turn 3 again.
Oh heavens, that is definitely not helping out the aerodynamic packages as the engineers had once designed it to, as Sage Karam has lost that position to Alex Simpson.
Oh, problems on the racetrack. Problems there for car of Brandon Trost. He is dropped back in a big way from your field as Trost has hit the wall off turn number 1. We saw him there. He goes up the track. I think he has.
And Trano.
Yes. Well, no, it wasn't actually contact between the two of them, but Trost goes up the racetrack and...
Oh, we have a caution now.
Oh, big crash. He was involved in that one. Brandon Trano, just going to get the replay for you now, loses it on his own. Yeah, Trano loses it himself, comes back up the track, and I believe he collects the car there of... That will be the DHL car of Vic Cordell.
Yes, apologies for any echo there. It is just, oh heavens, it just looks like this whole thing started, and we'll go to a replay for Brandon Trano as he was following in the wheel wells of Tim Holgate. That little bit of instance allowed Holgate past, and looks like he just comes in. That little bit of aero damage will just allow that car to get a little aero loose. He'll go clip the grass, and he'll end up causing a multi-car incident. He goes into the wheel. Now he holds the brake and he tries to hold it, but Vic Caldell is caught up by it, as well as Terry Mathiasen is also, looks like he made it through. Randy Krosno also involved, and Alex Simpson, the car that we had been just following, also made it through as the caution is fully out. The pace car has caught the entire field, and I just have to wonder, oh, Sage Karam is still alive, I was going to say, for how close he was behind that Apex Racing UK car. That is got to be very, very lucky on his part. Randy, now, every single car that pits now will get tires, will get fuel, and they will be back out on track. And it is going to be now a showdown here for the final 30-some-odd laps here at the Pocono Raceway.
Yeah, everyone can make it to the end from here. So any fuel saving that people have been doing is basically all for naught. The big winner here might just be Tim Doyle. He pit before that caution came out. I believe he was able to stay on the lead lap, and if he was, he may be the only car that doesn't come down pit road on this run. And if you think Sage Karam got a little scared by that contact between Trano and Vic Caudill, Terry Mattinson went underneath the flying car of Brandon Trano. So if anyone had an exciting view of that, it was definitely one Terry Mattinson who gets out of that unscathed.
Yes, that was when the cars were rolling. In the very beginning of the incident, when Trano went into the wall, it actually was a moment of three wide between Alex Simpson, Sage Karam, and the wrecking car, Brandon Trano, as the cars are getting ready. Now they've only got another 2 turns, and then they will be almost certainly coming down pit lane. Other than the car that we had just mentioned that had not, or that had just come down pit lane, everybody is going to be coming down as we have got 13 cars on the lead lap. So
they've already picked him.
They've already picked. Oh, they did. Okay, I missed that. We were busy looking at the replay. So
incident on pit road. I believe we had something happen on pit road.
Oh heavens! We'll have to take a look at that. As well, if these guys have already come in and pit, I completely missed that one. Yes, it does look like everyone has come into pit. So, Tim Doyle is the one that is going to be staying out in front. As we look up to see who might have had an incident, but Terry Mathiasen, whom actually qualified third, his car should be faster, but it's just not. It has been his race, might just be quite the darling for this race here. He was at 13th position, the very last car on the lead lap when the yellow flag had come out. Almost certainly would have gone a lap down and doomed him to that position, but he will stay. I was actually in 12th position. He did go a lap down. He was on the wave around. That's what was the problem. So Terry Mathiasen, ignore what I had just said, as it looks like it will be Tim Doyle. Doyle, whom we had called out come into the pits, is going to be the one who is going to be leading this field. He's already going to be leading that lap, position number 1. He qualified 19th, so we'll have to see. His lap times have been relatively good. He's had a couple of 41.2s, and I think with you might have the car under him. So let's get ready to go. We have, as the lights go out on that Ford Mustang, you're going to have to sit up in your seats just a little bit, get that 5-point harness on, of course the virtual one, and get ready to rock and roll here at Pocono Raceway. We've got just over 23 laps to go as Tim Doyle will be leading the field. Brandon Trost will be right behind in that 007 car. Christopher Demerit, the 144. Tim Holgate, who's been holding around all race long in position number 4. Martin Miller, Matt Pawelski, and Sage Karam, our pro. He is sitting comfortably in 7th position with a field ahead of him. Sage Karam still one of the fastest laps of the race here today. So as they come out turn number 2, Rachel, just you've been in this position, I'm sure, just a couple of times. It's just going to be so important to remember to get that start good.
Yeah, certainly. You got to watch not only the leader but the cars in front of you. You got to go. Now is when it matters. We are less than a fuel window away. We got fresh tires. We got fuel. It's time to go full race mode. There's no holes barred now. Positions matter. Points matter. Pavelski's going to be our points leader after this one if he survives. So it's time for me to make it a big one.
Yes, it is. Tim Doyle will have the field, and immediately as soon as the pace car comes off, he will get on the throttle and he will go. Brandon Trost will actually, the field is almost stalled a little bit there as the cars all settle out and about going onto the field here, as it will be Tim Doyle, Brandon Trost, Christopher Demerit, and Tim Holgate, all 1, 2, 3, and 4. They all go into single file, but it will only last for just one moment. They're already going 3 wide here at the Pocono Raceway, but they quickly double that to 2 by 2 by 2, as the field will tear itself apart into turn number 2. They are trying to struggle to get onto that racing line. Randy Chenworth, as we close out here, we've got 22 laps to go. It is an absolute blitzing of a start. Tim Doyle, though. Tim Doyle, we haven't really talked about him that much. He started in 19th position. He will lose that position to Brandon Trost, though. I can't imagine that his car would hold up the field too much, but with these lead lap cars, he could definitely be an X-Factor.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Tim's going to be able to hold himself up here, because if there's a time to be at the lead when you've been running in the back all day, it's when you have enough fuel to make it to the end and you're leading the restart. I'm expecting no one to really back off here. We've seen different packs of cars spread out over the course of the event. I'm expecting that a lot of that was due to people just getting themselves a gap, trying to stay safe over the course of the race. From here on out, I think we're basically going to see one big, almost 10-car train going all the way to the end.
Yes, and as we've seen, it looks Tim Doyle has brought that car to the left, to the right. He has kept the air off of Brandon Trust, the draft away from Brandon Trust as much as he can. That 007 IndyCar looking well to the inside, almost on the yellow line, almost on the grass. He will go for the lead. Brandon Trust will, as it almost looks like he might be able to pull it off in the tunnel turn, but as we've seen, that pulls away your speed. Brandon Trust and Tim Doyle in a drag race to turn number 3. It will be both Tim Doyle and Brandon Trust. Christopher Demerit involved, Tim Holgate, Matt Pavelski also with Sage Karam. Sage Karam now, he is within an arm's length of the leaders. He is finally now, after 121 laps and 5 pit stops, right in the lead pack. He is right there. And Rachel, he is in a fairly good position. He's got just some 20 laps to go here at Pocono to make a difference.
Yeah, this is time to go, and well, Karam has had a long race. You know, he started in the back of our pack, P24. He's now battling for the lead of this race. He's up here with guys fighting for the championship points. Karam is not in the championship fight, of course, but he does not care. Right now, he wants that checkered flag. He wants a win here. He's been pushing hard. His car's in good shape. You know, we saw damage earlier, but it's not affected him at all. And with how hard these guys are racing, this is going to come down to an experience thing. And Karam, well, he's done this for real. He's been very close with the cars. We have a big check up there on turn number 1. This car's getting loose. That's Doyle, who's slow on the outside. Everyone's trying to find a way underneath. Karam will be the loser in that situation there. As past him will go the car there. I believe that is of Martin Miller. But this is something spread now. This is what we thought would happen. But 18 to go. It's going to be really intense here as Karam loses another spot. He goes wide. Up comes Davis. I don't think it'll be too long before we see a yellow though, Cam.
Yes, I was going to say these cars have been starting to dance. They're bunching up quite nicely. Randy Krasno going on the outside of Sage Karam. Sage perhaps slipping that car down. He's recovered that nicely there. But Matt Pavelski will go to the point. Matt Pavelski, who himself has brought himself through the field, as we do have a car. Who is that? Is that Sage Karam? Yes, it is. He's gone into the grass, but he's somehow managed to hold it together, and he's been involved in an incident, Randy, with Eric Davis. Eric Davis having gotten clipped over, and Eric Davis is into the wall. As we will see a replay of that, Randy Chenworth will just describe to us what has just happened.
Well, looks like Eric had another problem in turn 1 again, and he pushed up the track.
He pushed up the track, and I don't think there was much that Sage Karam could have done. But I will say, though, as Eric Davis limps that car into the pit lane, Brandon Trost and Matt Pavelski will be fighting for position as Christopher Demerit is in 3rd, Tim Holgate is in 4th, as Martin Miller is going to be in 4th, Tim Doyle in 5th, Randy Krasno 6th, Tim Miller and Brian Krzeski in 6th and 7th, as it looks like Sage Karam has fallen well off the pace, and understandably so. I can only imagine that front wing has been damaged just ever so slightly, and that is going to really ruin your entire speed, Randy, is that front wing is so very important.
Oh, it certainly could, but then again, we've seen we've seen people catching that wall in the exit of turn 3 all race long, and they've been able to hold it. So he might get lucky and be able to still get through the air efficiently enough that he can hold it, but it's going to be really, really tight.
It's going to be really tight, and we've seen all race long Sage Karam is able to tuck that nose cone right underneath the cars, so perhaps the ability to do that is a little gone. But Brandon Trost, though, now with Trano out of the race after having clipped that wall, your race leader after so many laps, now the seat is vacant, and Brandon Trost is looking to fill that throne of position number 1 as he will have the extraordinarily turquoise Matt Pavelski IndyCar just behind him with Christopher Demerit. Demerit has been waiting all race long for this. He is not. He wasn't really able to get past Brandon Trano in the middle of the stint of that last run, as we are just about 15 laps to go. Actually, just about to hit 13. As Demerit will hold on to that. He will actually lose a position to Tim Holgate. Holgate, though, on the move. I think he's looking at it, and he smells the blood in the water, just like a shark would do, and he is going, well, you know what? Maybe I could have settled for a 5th, but Rachel, I think he's just looking at it right now. He sees the leaders going side by side. He definitely wants part of that action now. He is going for the win.
Well, the thing here is, of course, we've lost Treno, we've lost a couple of other drivers from the front of this race, so the point situation is really fluid. Holgate, of course, he missed last round. He needs to make up some points. He's running well here. He's third right now. He's second right now, even. Of course, the guy who will inherit the points lead is Pavelski. He's sitting fourth. He will secure that points lead. So they're in a good spot. They want, of course, more. As we see now, Tim Holgate will go to the lead of this race.
Yes, he will. After all of those laps, a paltry qualifying for him. He's normally right up there, up on the point. He started 10th. He's up to the lead, and he will lead one lap over Brandon Trost. Trost, though, on the inside. Brandon Trost and Tim Holgate. We've seen this story all race long and all in his seasons past between Trost and Holgate. These two competitors have been racing not just these last couple of laps, but it dates back seasons, as Christopher Demerit also looking to get involved, as well as Matt Pavelski. Martin Miller, though, having qualified in 5th, he's in 5th. Haven't really talked about him all day in that Banshee Autosport. Randy, that car is looking like it can hang with these front-running cars as the lap times are dwindling down, as well as the lap count. We are just about to hit 11 to go.
Yeah, we were talking about Martin earlier when we were talking about how he had dropped back. The Banshee guys know how to be there at the end. He's been running outside of the top 10 all day. Here we are, almost 10 laps to go. He's sitting in 5th place, right behind the top 4. I think Martin has a good chance of maybe getting through this field. He's done it before. I think he could do it again, but these top 4 are tough as we get, I believe Holgate is getting passed by Brandon Trost again for the lead.
Yes, and so they will come through one more time here as, yes, Tim Holgate looking to the inside line in that Obodo sponsored livery IndyCar. He will
contact with the wall behind him.
Yeah, Pileski in the wall.
Pavelski getting a very good clip on that wall, but he stays in it. He stays in it, and it looks like he's done a little bit of damage. Let's see. I almost worry if something happened with similar to Brandon Treno, where the right side of his car caught that air. That little bit of damage threw the balance off, and he ended up spinning out and collecting many cars. But Matt Pavelski in 4th position doesn't seem to have slowed him down one bit. He is holding on to his position over Martin Miller as he is actually trying now to come up onto Christopher Demerit. Rachel, a little bit of a wall tap there, but you know what? He seems to be still right involved in the battle.
He does indeed. That damage doesn't seem to be too severe for him, but it's going to be a really difficult situation right now. He's, of course, going to be really stuck if he gets into clean air. He might be okay in the draft. We can't really see it. It's being masked by the fact he's in the pack, so it could be worse than it looks.
Well, it definitely could be. We'll have to see as the final laps are ticking down. Brandon Trost now taking the position from Tim Holgate. Christopher Demerit still looking on the inside, going to the inside line. I have to say, I really feel for Sage Karam. I don't think there was much he could have done as Sage Karam is actually off of the track. I'm wondering if something has happened. Yes, something has happened. Oh, yes, off of turn number 2, Sage Karam, our celebrity driver, ended up snapping loose and collecting the turn 1 exit wall. He went to the inside grass, and the car was cleared, so no issue there. But for the most part, that's a sad end to a great race from Sage Karam. But we'll keep our focus up on the front of the field for the rest of this race. We can talk about that just a little later in our post-race show. But right now it is Tim Holgate and Christopher Demerit with trying to overpower Brandon Trost in the lead, but I just don't necessarily know if anyone really wants to take that lead position, Randy. I think that they're going to want to wait until the final lap, and that's just what they're practicing for.
Everyone right now is just playing a game of chess. They're trying to decide where they want to place themselves and put themselves in the best position. Really, if anyone makes a misstep, any one of these 5 cars could win the race. We could see one move and see the entire of this top 5 just completely go away and see Tim Doyle win the race. It's definitely a possibility. But right now, I think everyone's trying to place themselves well. I think if you're leading going into turn 1, there's a good chance you could end up winning the race simply because you'll be the one making the pass going into turn 3 after you get past and then get past them again. It's really a crapshoot of where you want to be right now. There's no real single position that's the safe spot. The only person that's really maintained the position consistently is Christopher Demerit.
Demerit has been holding third pretty much all race long, second or third, as he is qualified in second. He's up in third position, which he has just been watching all race long. When will he make his move? We are going to be closing out on only 5 laps to go here at the Pocono Raceway. We've seen him go too wide at the very end. Just how many cars are they going to be able to fit on that front stretch, and will it work? We'll have to see, and perhaps, of course, a late race caution could come out as Trost goes to the inside of Holgate. And Rachel, as we work off that final turn number 3 here in Pocono, this is possibly a preview of what would happen, and as they cross the line, it would have been Brandon Trost by 0.002 of a second. Hopefully these cars can keep it together, Rachel. We've only got 5 laps to go here.
Yeah, very much so. This is really the tough part, as these guys, I don't think any of them have not been in the wall at some point, so it's pretty tight. Tim Holgate, though, he has been in the wall. He's leading the race right now, so that car clearly hanging on as, up he goes in turn number 2 as we go 3 wide there. Trost to the front with a really sound move there. Pavelski comes through as well. 3 spots lost in 1 straight there for Tim Holgate.
Yes, Randy.
Yeah, that could be a big thing, because Brandon Trost, after that little hiccup, was able to get himself a gap. It'll be interesting to see if he can maintain that gap over the next few laps. But they've already caught him, so that point is moot.
Yes, I was going to say, Brandon Trost, he has but a moment's respite, as Trost will have Demerit, Pavelski, Holgate, and Miller right behind. I believe they're going to close up once again, unless Trost can really pull some magic out of the hat. I don't know, it's not going to happen, as already the car of Christopher Demerit is going 7 miles an hour faster, and he will take the more outside line to turn number 3 as they finish off yet another lap. They will go to just 3 laps to go, and Demerit would have not had it at the line. That would have been Brandon Trost by 0.014, so we'll have to see. They're setting themselves up for a photo finish here at Pocono Raceway. I don't think we're going to be any strangers to that. Here, at least on Race Spot TV, we have seen close racing all season long, and right now, after that little hiccup, it is now seems to be a 2-horse show, Rachel. The laps are ticking down, and I believe it is just going to be a gamble between which car out of Christopher Demerit and Brandon Trost are ready to risk it all for a win here in the 16th Street Racing League.
Oh, this will be a critical time in the race. You've got these guys all vying for the victory here today. Of course, we do know that of the drivers here, Tim Holgate has got a win, well, 2 wins so far this season. We know Treno has not, but Trost even has not. Treno's out already. But we know that guys like Pavelski, he hasn't got a win either. They all want this so badly. Demerit, well, he's sitting in a pretty good place right now, but Demerit is further back in the points. He wants it for pride more than anything else. He's run 2 less rounds, no wins, so all these guys will be first-time winners here.
Yes, as we have gone quite a few rounds here. I think we're almost over. We're over halfway through the 16th Street Racing League. As it is, as we've got just a scant 2 laps to go here at Pocono. Another 5 miles, and the winner will be decided. And you're going to be watching it here on Race Spot TV on the IndyCar YouTube channel. Christopher Demerit on the inside, Brandon Trost on the outside. A little bit of lap traffic might come into play, as already Brandon Trost seeing the opportunity, trying to go on well into the inside line, but Demerit will not have any of it. He'll actually pull alongside on the outside. Demerit will end up having to concede, and I'm not sure if Matt Pavelski, after scraping that outside wall, really does have anything in the tank to keep with these guys. He is just slightly pulling it back just a little bit lap after lap.
Lap traffic here could play a factor.
It most certainly can. Terry Mathiasen now, he had qualified in 3rd position, and he is now quite a lap back. So I imagine Terry is just going to let them go through, as we will have just 1 lap to go here, and it will be, they're still going to be side-by-side, Trost and Demerit, with Pavelski looking on. I'm not sure if Pavelski's involved in this anymore, Randy. I think it's just a showdown between Brandon Trost and Christopher Demerit.
Yeah, they come through turn 2. Brandon Trost is leading. Chris Merritt goes to the outside. Terry needs to get out of the way here. He's going to be out on the outside as they come through. Trost has the inside. It's going to be a drag race down to the finish. They come off of turn 3. Oh, they make contact. They make contact. Demerit's in the wall. Demerit's flipping upside down pit lane.
That is not the way you want to end a race, as it will be, as Demerit will end up having that car parked in the pit lane. He will end up crossing the line, but it's just not meant to be, as it just looks like Demerit did not have that workout in his favor. He pushed it just a little too far, and Trost, when correcting that car, just made it work, as Brandon Trost will come home with the victory here at Pocono Raceway for the IndyCar Series, the 16th Street Racing League. Brandon Trost, boy, that is just quite a sensational end right there at, well, we were talking about a drag race to the finish there, Randy. I don't believe we had anticipated that, as we have a replay on the screen right now.
Yeah, that was a pretty big incident, and I think we're going to see some of these officials take a look at this first race, simply due to make sure lines were held. I won't say much more than that, but that was definitely an exciting finish to the end of that race.
Yes, and it is just one of those finishes that they've worked so hard on for the end of the race, but it just didn't work out. So we will be having a reset of this, as you've seen a couple of replays of this now. We're going to reset, reload, and we will be right back here on RaceSpot TV, on the IndyCar YouTube channel, and iRacing It Live. This is RaceSpot TV with your post-race coverage coming in just a moment's time. Stay with us.
Yes, it all starts here. It's opening day for the Verizon IndyCar Series.
From St. Petersburg, Florida, new cars, some new faces, and an old, solid group of veterans and winners.
Get ready, stay with them here.
They call it the Valley of the Sun. They're running laps at 155 miles an hour.
Long Beach, California, a beautiful destination city with a huge sandy beach, great marinas, cruise ships, and once a year, the Verizon IndyCars.
The spectacular undulating Barber Motorsports Park Indy Grand Prix of Alabama.
The acceleration begins.
The new champion of the Grand Prix of Indianapolis is...
Everyone wants to win. Only one will.
And with those millions watching around the world.
By the way, it's the biggest race of your lives, gentlemen.
Here in the Motor City, in the first of the duel in Detroit.
Business is picking up in turn 7 at Belle Isle.
And the green flag waves at Texas Motor Speedway.
All right, let's go.
Wheel to wheel at 210 miles an hour.
And Honda versus Chevy.
Green flag in the air. Sebastian Bourdais is the leader. In the core of America's heartland is a tiny track that packs a speedy IndyCar punch like no other.
Green, green, green.
Well, let's go racing in Iowa.
He needs a penalty.
This is Indy Toronto, and the green flag flies.
Oh, here it
He's making a
comes.
move, but he's going to make him go to the wet. Deep into turn 3. And maybe too deep.
to the Buckeye State. Drivers, start your engines!
There is a giant crowd at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
All right, that's it. Excellent job, young man. Excellent job. You won Mid-Ohio.
The tricky triangle is definitely very tricky.
Look at this pack now.
He's not giving him anything. That's how you're supposed to race.
For the Labor Day weekend of 2016, we will welcome and host the Grand Prix of Boston.
It's the Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma. It's the championship decider. It's time to bring the action.
Race fans, there they are.
The 16th Street Racing League has just finished its race here at Pocono Raceway. We hope you have enjoyed it, but the action is might be over on the track. It is not over here in the commentary booth. Hello, everybody. Once again, Cameron Walsh, Randy Chewith, Rachel Whiteford bringing you some post-race coverage, a couple of driver interviews, but for the very first, we need to go over the final results here for the 140-lap race at the Pocono Raceway for the 16th Street Racing League. Brandon Trost, in dramatic fashion, comes away with a win in that 007 car over Matt Pavelski by just over half a second. Martin Miller finishing in third. Tim Doyle having started 19th, finishing all the way up in fourth position. Tim Miller in fifth. Randy Krosno in sixth. Tim Holgate, not really much of a great race there. He had the opportunities, but a couple of mistakes just pulled it away. Finished in seventh, which is better than not finishing at all. Brian Karzewski in eighth position with Terry Mathiasen in ninth, as Christopher Demerit will have finished after that incident in 10th position. Michael Peters finishing your first off-lap car in position number 11. Sage Karam having that unfortunate incident near the end of the race will finish 10 laps down after a very spirited run with a possible chance of the win, but Sage Karam will have to wait just another week if he wants another chance at it. Eric Davis finishing in 13 with Alex Simpson in 14th. Vic Caudill in 15th. Brandon Trano 16th. Niles Anders finishing in 17th. Paul Jennings in 18th. Jim McClure 19th. Dean Moll in 20th. Christian Steele in 21st. Brian Simpson 22nd. Austin Espedy 23rd with two non-starters. So it will then, after those results, go to the driver interviews. But just, well, let's just take a look at that ending one more time, Randy. An unfortunate incident between Brandon Trost and Christopher Demerit will rob us of that photo finish, but for all it's worth, the cars still crossed the lines, even though I think Christopher Demerit is not going to be one happy camper.
Yeah, Chris did cross the line wrecking. He came home in 10th place. Unfortunate, I'm not sure the word I would use to describe it, but I think I will let the interviews from the people we have waiting, we'll let them describe it in the words they feel fit.
Yeah, so for the very first, we're going to be talking with, instead we of course have your race winner and a couple of others, but we'll start with Matt Pavelski here in the Race Spot TV commentary booth. It is Matt Pavelski, having started all the way back in 15th position, came home in second after that incident. Matt, it's been 140 laps at Pocono. How did it go for you?
It went extremely well. I mean, to start in 15th, to come up to second, and then just keep the car in one piece and just survive all the craziness that was that last stint where we had, cars spinning, cars getting hit in the door, all that. I mean, I should say side pod, but, all that craziness, to survive all that and then come home and, what should have been a third and come home in second. Yeah, I'm thrilled with it.
All right, thrilled indeed. Now, it'll help you out in the point standing. You're running second right now, so definitely with Alex Simpson having that DNF, that is definitely going to help you out for sure heading into next week's race, which will definitely be exciting. But strategy, with these cautions, they almost came just about halfway through these green flag runs. We had a couple of green flag stops. We had a couple of caution stops. Just how much did strategy play a part in your race?
Not really much. I mean, we still had been planning to take, X amount of stops, and at the end of the day, all the cautions really all they did was just change how much fuel we'd take here, like what lap we pit on or what our number had to be. So it really, I mean, a lot of them managed to fall, I mean, right where it would help you get to the end. So, I mean, it didn't really change anything. I know with Chris and I, it changed our fuel numbers a little bit and, like, how much fuel we take when we had that. I think it might have been the last caution. But, I mean, for the most part, it played not really much of a role because it just kept everybody in the same spot.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of drafting, a lot of slicing and dicing, but where we are going next week, it is going to be Sonoma Raceway, of course, in California for the next round of the 16th Street Racing League. So we're going back to a road course. You were at Road America. Now you're going to go to Sonoma Raceway. How do you like Sonoma?
I like it. It has, it's a lot of flow. It has, it's very technical, and I tend to like the technical tracks just because they're so much fun to drive. I can't wrap my head around that last chicane and the last hairpin. So, I mean, I generally lose a little bit of time at this place at Sonoma. So, just again, hoping for like a nice, top 4, top 5, maybe top 3. And just, try to keep, I think I should have the points lead. Just try to keep whatever points lead I have and just try to maintain it going forward.
Right, so Matt Pavelski, you're probably most certainly going to be your iRacing 16th Street League Racing in the first spot, at least for right now. I was going to say provisional champion. No, not at all. As this is still a wide open affair, especially with Tim Holgate having a very good race. Matt Pavelski, anyone you would like to thank out there?
I gotta thank Trino. I gotta thank Alex Simpson. I gotta thank Andy Simpson. I gotta thank Chris. The whole group played a big part in it. We were all bouncing our fuel numbers off of each other. When some of us were out of the race, we were spotting for each other, making sure no one had damage. So just gotta thank all those guys because it was a real big team effort.
All right, well, Matt Pavelski finishing in second place here at the Pocono Raceway. So next person we are going to be bringing in, it is going to be Christopher Demerit. Christopher Demerit will be with Randy Chenroth to talk about his Pocono race.
Hello, Chris. Certainly an exciting race. We'll get to some of the events at the end of there first. Let's talk about some of the interesting stuff that happened in the middle of the race. Now, through a lot of the middle stint, you were constantly going further than some of the other cars that were running near the front. Were you saving fuel? And if the race had stayed green from roughly the middle point of the race, do you think you could have gone farther than a lot of the other guys and brought it home?
It was definitely gonna be close. I was doing the numbers pretty much as the caution was coming out. I kept filling it up, hoping that I was gonna save enough fuel behind Reno there, but it was gonna be close. Like maybe I needed to save like 1 or 2 more gallons on top of what I was already saving. It was gonna be close. That was just a rough estimate. But that was the goal. I was gonna go green all the way, and I could have figured something out with the fuel.
Yeah, you were definitely pulling more fuel than everyone else. It seemed like you were constantly the last one getting back into the racing groove. Now we'll talk about this ending stint here. Really, that wreck came out, I believe, right around lap 108 or so, and that gave pretty much everyone the green light to go hard the rest of the way. You have Tin Doyle out there who hadn't been at the front at all race. He was running mid pack, but unfortunately for him, he pit one lap before that caution came out and got himself into first. Did having that car up there that had been kind of slow the rest of the day, that shake anything up among that lead pack?
I knew pretty much everyone in that lead pack was up to speed. I knew that no one was really slow. We were all kind of at the same pace. Pocono is a track that it's more about the lines that you take rather than the setup that you have. So, I mean, the first few laps are always hectic because there's always the most grip there, and you can throw it in the corner. But after the first few laps, I knew it was gonna calm down, but I need to get through those first and pass if I could.
All right, so now talking about that incident towards the end of the race, you had a big run on him going into turn 3, and I know both of you were looking out the front, probably hoping Terry wouldn't end up being a a factor to the finish of the race. You got a big run going into 3, got underneath them, and then came off the corner. And what do you think happened from your point of view?
I was just trying to keep him on the low line as Terry RXT gave me arrow push and then gave Brandon arrow push, so we both pushed up at different times. I pushed up earlier, he pushed up later. That pretty much actually set up the pass for me. I got a word with Brandon. He just said he was trying to avoid hitting the wall, and it's one of those things where you can look at it either way. You can look at it like, oh, like why didn't you just straighten the wheel out? But on the other hand, I was pretty much pinning him to the wall, hoping that he wasn't going to try to swoop down to get Terry's draft. But sometimes it just doesn't go your way.
Yeah, certainly not the way you wanted to end this. Coming home 10th, running up in the top 3 pretty much all race. I don't think you dropped below 3rd at a single point. So, again, disappointing for you. Anyone you'd like to thank? Any sponsors, teammates, favorite commentators?
Gotta definitely thank all Broken Arrow and the whole team for just working on the setups. Alex and Apex and Austin, we're working with them. I don't think I can just choose one favorite commentator. You guys are all great.
Oh, but you know it's me. I'm kidding, of course. Thanks for talking with us today, Chris. again, good finish, at least bringing it home in the top 10. And I believe we're going to pass it over to Miss Rachel Whiteford, who is here with Brandon Trout.
Yes, I am indeed. I'm here with your race winner today. And a race win shrouded in controversy, Brandon. You had a pretty good performance all race long, of course, qualified in 8th. I want to start first by talking about the beginning of the race. The start, you heading into turn 1, and we see you go from the top 3 or 4 wide to a gap possibly no wider than an IndyCar, and somehow make it through there, gaining 4 spots in the start.
Yeah, that was interesting. I wasn't trying to make that. I was just trying to run a normal run through turn 1, but unfortunately, what happened was the whole entire field stacked up, and I just saw the opening, went for it.
Well, you must have some Jedi reflexes there, because I've never seen someone go sideways in an IndyCar quite so fast. But of course, a busy race for you at the front of the pack most of the race. Car better in clean air?
I wouldn't say better. I would say different. I made a lot of adjustments over the. I kind of winged it on the wing. Yeah, pun intended. But I was guessing. I really didn't know. So the whole entire race, I kept adding downforce. So by the end, it was a lot better in traffic than it was.
Of course, that might have been a contributing factor to the late race controversy we had on the final lap. Of course, you were yourself and of course Christopher Demerit were catching the lap down car of I believe that was
Mattinson, I believe.
Mattinson, yes, Terry Mattinson. And tell me about what happened from your point of view.
Well, I'm trying to watch my rear view because, of course, I don't want Demerit to get by. And then I'm trying not to hit the wall because I got this arrow push in the middle of the corner because Mattinson arced it right into my lane. So I'm getting off the corner. I've got the wheel in it, and I'm looking in my rear view, trying not to hit the wall at the same time, and continue turning a little too far, start straightening it out, and then right at that point we hit, and I mean, it was on me. It's my bad. I didn't intend to do it.
Obviously, I'm no stranger to driving this car myself. The way the car came out the corner, it looks as though you were tracking out perhaps too far, heading towards the wall. Was it with the dirty air, perhaps a whip reaction to stay away from the wall that put you into demerit, or trying to maybe defend the spot?
It was both, honestly. I honestly didn't know he was there. And then the other thing was, I'm trying not to hit the wall because I had to put a little bit more wheel in it. Not tons, but, enough to make a difference on the exit. And just, they kind of combined, and we, Chris was saying, he had arrow push at one point in the corner. So I don't know if maybe he would have been a little lower if there wasn't a lap car, or I probably could have kept it higher if there wasn't a lap car. Just one of those unfortunate cases where a lap car affected the outcome. It made it a lot harder to race.
Well, we appear to be having some audio issues there with Brandon Trost, your race winner. But I think we got the gist of that message from him. Of course, lap car playing a major factor in the race today. And one we saw, I saw Cam, and you did, and you, Randy, coming to be it was going to be a problem on that final lap. But little did we realise perhaps how much. But we have got Tim Miller standing by for an interview, and I believe he'll be talking to Randy Chenoweth.
Oh, hello, Tim. I was not prepared for that interview, but
that's all
throw
right.
this together real quick. You brought it home in top 5. You started 18th, so you came up about 13 spots through the field over the course of the race. How did you manage to do it?
Well, I don't know. All I know is I was going back and forth with Randy those last 15 laps or something like that. It was amazing.
Yeah, us Randys, we certainly can be interesting, and Crosman is one of the most experienced guys in the field, so...
Yeah, I know him pretty well. He's a good guy.
Excuse me.
It's that Randy was such an interesting person. So either way, here at Pocono, I mean, it's having to work your way through the field, and sometimes just making it through, just really surviving from pit to pit. But at the end of the day, I mean, a fifth place finish isn't bad at all whatsoever, especially with the fighting you were doing with that Aero X IndyCar. But Tim, you've come away fifth here at Pocono. Do you think you were going to have a much better race, or really is this just kind of one of those things?
Well, this is an anomaly for sure. I didn't expect to get in the top 10 on a a oval, but road course maybe, but not this.
Now, speaking of road courses, we leave the Pennsylvania mountain range of Pocono Mountains, and we are going to be heading all the way over to California, and we are going to be going to the Sonoma race course. So we're trading the oval for another road course, just like Road America. And I mean, obviously they're different courses, but we're going from road to road. And so Sonoma, are you comfortable with Sonoma here in the IndyCar?
Yes, I am. I like Sonoma. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, let me say before we go anywhere, I've always been an independent my whole time in iRacing, but I'm now joined up with Team RFC and Wayne Strout and his group. It's a great group. I just want to thank them for helping me out here.
Oh, absolutely. And team's an important thing, not just for help with the setups, but of course the camaraderie and the friendship that comes along with it. So, Tim, we'll hopefully see you over at Sonoma Raceway. But is there anyone out there you'd like to thank real quick?
Well, I definitely want to thank my sponsor, Chicago's Pizza, there in Indianapolis. And thanks to the 16th Street League, you guys do a great job. And the Race Spot team, excellent.
Well, thank you. We're, of course, always happy. And, of course, who couldn't love some good Indianapolis pizza? So, either way, we will thank you, Tim, for hopping into the booth. We're going to kind of reset it here and just take one final takeaway. Randy, Rachel will bring you back in one final time here. Just a quick takeaway here from Pocono Raceway, Rachel. Some good racing, I think. There's anything, we got some good racing ahead in the future.
Yeah, Pocono is a tough racetrack. Not only the fact that most drivers are expecting a fourth corner and it doesn't happen, but a lot of the ovals you can tend to get a bit of spreading out. Places like Texas, places like Phoenix, places like Auto Club or Michigan, things tend to kind of spread out a bit. So it becomes a bit more difficult to race and there's a lot more fuel strategy involved. Pocono, because there is a large slice of driver involved, things tend to get a bit closer and, well, they call it the tricky triangle. The wrecks always tend to be a little bit bigger at Pocono when we have them. They tend to involve more cars, of course, huge wide straightaways, so plenty of room for people to go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide. And of course, the funnel into turn one. So many cars into such a small space. A track where you really have cars set up for different corners. You'll have one guy set up for turn one, somebody else for turn two, somebody else for turn three, because you really have to prioritize one of the corners. It makes it a difficult racetrack, and it also brings people close together. So that's where we tend to have these close finishes, close racing, contact between cars, and yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's racing. It's going to happen. I guess it's just everybody's job to try and mitigate that.
Yeah, so just, and Randy, your final thoughts from here before we set sail or fly over to California?
Yeah, you certainly wouldn't set sail heading to California. There's not enough water
It'd take
here.
a while. It'd take a while.
But yeah, Sonoma, Sonoma is going to be an interesting race. Sonoma, one of the big races on the IndyCar circuit. One of the most fun tracks to drive. Can be pretty frustrating to race, but Sonoma should be a good race. But I mean, 7 out of 11 races done so far. Everyone's really starting to set their eyes on Indianapolis, I think.
Yes, Indianapolis, of course, is on the schedule and will be coming relatively soon, in just a few weeks' time. Of course, Indianapolis, one of the Triple Crown races here in the 16th Street Racing League. So, just to wrap it up one more time before we all say good night for the day, Brandon Trost coming away with that victory after 140 laps here at Pocono Raceway. Matt Pavelski finishing in second, and Martin Miller finishing in third. So looking forward, we're going to be seeing you all next week at Sonoma Raceway. We hope you will all join us. And of course, the post-race show has been brought to you by Racer Magazine, one of the great racing websites you can go for all of your motorsports needs. And of course, the 16th Street Racing League, Verizon IndyCar, and RaceSpot, all our graphics packages and our graphics partners, and Warren Design. You can catch us all over the web, but for the most part, you can come right on back to Tuesday night IndyCars here with the 16th Street Racing League. Some of the best racing you can get in sim. And as such, we will see you all next week at Sonoma. For myself, Cameron Walsh, Hugo Louis on the cameras, Randy Chenworth, and Rachel Whiteford in the commentary booth. We will see you all next time. Do catch us later. We'll probably be back to the standard staff of Mr. Will Vincent, Aaron Likens, and we will see you all next time.